Well, 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 it is day 53. Day 53 of our beautiful, some would say, enlightening live streaming journey across YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So, hello, guys. Thanks for being here across all those platforms. Yes, this is the 53rd day. 53 days ago. Actually, no, that's not true because we took a 2-week break. 2 months ago, we decided to do our very first multi-streaming session. And from there, we enjoyed it so much, we decided we're going to keep doing it. Every day, we were streaming about 7 to 8 hours every single freaking day. And it turns out I can talk and talk and talk and talk and not get tired. So once we determined that I have the endurance for it and I am totally fine streaming to nobody, and apparently I can talk to a wall if needed. So knowing that I'm fully comfortable with all that, and then turns out there is an audience out there, so thank you guys for being here. We decided we're going to keep doing it, and here we are, 53 streams later, still doing the same thing, but hopefully improving every time. So welcome, guys. Firstly, let's say hello to Okurut Eric. Thank you again for being here. Yes, so you were the first one to message. I appreciate that. And Dator, hello from Germany. Eric, I believe. Actually, I'm not going to speak because I forget where you said you are from. I think you're from Uganda. I know there's a few people that have joined after I made that video, so thank you for being here. And Dator, I know you are from Germany, so welcome. It is kind of cool. I will say, one of the coolest things from starting this live stream has been the fact that I've been able to meet some really awesome people around the world. So we've met people from everywhere from, let's see, the Philippines to Japan to France, Italy, Germany, the US, of course, Canada. Oh man, I don't know if we met people from South America yet, so that might be one of the missing spots still. And Low Bass Guy, thank you very much. I saw at the very beginning you have resubbed, so that is super cool. Thank you very much for doing that. I don't know if that's like an automatic thing or if you manually had to do it, but either way, I appreciate the fact that you are resubbed as a tier 1. It's super cool. It's going to take a while for me to get used to the fact that people are willing to put money into my pocket, and in exchange, you're listening to me for hours on end talk. It's a very, very interesting thing. But yeah, I'm learning to embrace the entertainer label, let's call it. Definitely not an educator. So, but yes, thank you very much, guys, for being here. Thank you again, Low Bass, for the resub. And I am doing well. Thank you. And also, yes, we are using, again, shout out to Low Bass Guy and the web creative community. We have a new chatbot. Although, Low Bass, I do need to, I set it up, thank you again, and then I got so swamped with other things, I haven't actually been able to check it out properly. But at the very least, it does look like it's working. So I do see the chatbot it's functioning as far as I can tell. So thank you for that. Do you know, does this chatbot work across Kick and YouTube as well? Or is it focused only on Twitch side? Not to say that's a bad thing, but given that I do stream across the others, I'm always curious. Kick has been always one of those where I turn on a stream and immediately there's at least 2 or 3 accounts that immediately spams my channel, my stream. And anyways, I would love to get rid of all that. Low Bass said, congrats on joining the team, and looks like you got the bot going. It does not only Twitch. All good. I mean, I appreciate this. So thank you. Yes, the bot's working, and I think I need to keep setting up a few commands. I think one of the few things I need to learn how to do is, one, pin a comment at the very beginning of the stream, and then if I can get these chatbots to just, if I can time the chatbots to say certain messages in the chat just as reminders for people of hey, use exclamation mark this to do that, or check out the latest video of this, without me having to actually manually type in anything. So those are a couple things I do need to learn how to do. But the first thing I'm going to do is let me do exclamation mark promo. And hopefully this works through Restream. And then let me pin this. I'm going to pin this message to my chats. So I don't know. Can I do that on YouTube? I believe I can. Give me there it is. Let's pin this in YouTube chat. And then Kick as well. Where is my Kick? Oh yeah, I learned how to ban someone, so I banned someone on Kick. You bastards. Always coming in here, giving me false hope that this is someone, oh, we got a new viewer on the stream on the Kick side, and turns out it's just someone shilling for whatever service they got. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm shilling for my services too. So I respect the hustle. but I will respectfully ban you. Okay, anyways, you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. Welcome, guys, to day 53. Before we get started, first I saw low bass. You typed in, I believe, Arabic. Is that Arabic? I don't know. And oh, wow, so the chatbot actually does translations. That's pretty dope. So now anyone can jump into the chat and talk in whatever language they want, and you'll understand them. Hells yeah, that's so cool. Okay. Wow. Well, as we hopefully build up a multinational, multi-ethnic, multi-language community, I will. It's good to know that I can at least hopefully understand you guys a bit better. I do want to know how. I would love to be able to build an audience on the Asian side as well as in the South American side. I think those areas. It seems like we have the most limited in terms of reach so far in the community. Obviously, part of that is probably with like my streaming hours, maybe. But anyways, yeah, we hope to continue growing. Low bass, you say, oh yeah, when you're ready. Oh, thank you, Eric. It's now pinned. Okay, thank you for confirming. When you're ready, just type !TWCC settings and you can configure the bot quickly and easily. Okay, sounds like something I'll do after the stream then. During my kick streams, all I got were bots and people who already followed me on Twitch. No, you know what? We were making that comment yesterday, and I think there were 2 new people that followed me on Kick. So thank you very much, guys. And they both were real people, or at the very least, they responded to me like a human, and they didn't put anything afterwards being like, hey, join my Discord channel, or hey, you should sign up for this service. Maybe they're playing the long game. So maybe because I called them out, they're like, oh shit, okay, we'll wait till the next day and then we're gonna chill. But yeah, so there are some real cool people on Kick as well. So while I am making fun of Kick in some ways because of the fact that it gets super annoying when all these spammers come through, I mean, that happens on Twitch and YouTube as well. But now shout out to Low Bass Guy and Seribot. I think who set up the Seribot for me? Was it Photo Elite or someone else? Either way, there are these bots that I was able to use that actually kicks out those spammers. So yeah, I think we'll get there with Kick as well. Hello, Zion. What's up? Yo, I am back. Well, I am back as well, Zion. So good to see you on here. Thank you for being here. And we are excited to also be back. Low Bass, you said, Skynet is getting smarter. I'm probably not even a real person. Yeah, I mean, you guys are doing a very, very good job of acting human. But what do I know? I barely speak to anyone these days, so I'm probably the least human of us all. I barely even leave my apartment. Although today I did have to leave, and I was on the road for like 3 hours in traffic. It sucked ass. And yeah, I was getting a little bit car sick. So I'm trying to improve myself right now as we speak. So yeah, what happened in between? Oh, Zion, yes. Thank you for talking about that. You'll see a pinned message in the chat. That is what happened in between. If you're asking me where I've been. Oh, and hello, Ivy EXP. Thank you for being here yet again. It is always so cool when people not just tune into one of my streams, but then decides to keep watching, right? Being a recurring member and a viewer. That's really cool. So I appreciate, obviously, that you guys are always here. But yeah, Zion, if you're asking what happened in between, as in like, where have I been? I was away for the past 2 weeks prior to kicking the streams back up, as we were working on this super awesome special project, which is the one that's been the topic of my last few streams, because I'm shamelessly trying to play the YouTube algorithm game, right? I don't know how much it matters on Twitch and Kick, but at the very least, I know people are probably right now on YouTube typing in, tell me more about the Nikon ZR, which was just announced a few days ago. And so hopefully I can have these streams as a way that if people are interested, we will spend the majority of my streams in the coming days as well, going through my recent trip there, as well as the short film documentary that I created using the Nikon ZR. And I'll share my thoughts. We'll answer questions. I would love to hear from you guys who are experts in the field, what you think about this camera, if it's going to be able to compete against the Sony FX3 or the Canon something or whatever. We'll see. But yeah, that's what we're up to. Zion, I was away for 1 month, 1+ month. Yes, it's been a while. So I'm glad to see you are here in the chat. Oh, before we get started as well, one other thing I'll mention is we have fixed the lighting situation. So maybe I'll jump over kind of it's a little bit dark behind me, but let me see if I can fix that in a second. Okay, so we did adjust it. So now it turns out I had one of those mini softbox for my Zhiyun X60 RGB light. So I was able to attach that to it. It's literally like a tiny little softbox. And so thank you. I forget who gave me the recommendation. It might have been Photo Elite or Kevin. But anyways, now we were able to fix the issue I had where the warm colors coming from the light here was hitting my face too much, and it was also splashing onto the wall behind me, creating a mix of the blue and the orange to make it a bit more like purplish, which I didn't like. So now we have a bit more of like a focus light on the bookshelf without it spilling over to the wall behind me. So we made some improvements. However, I'm charging the blue. I have a larger Zhiyun Cinepeer light. It's like 100 watts as well. It's in the living room, but I accidentally wasn't charging it. So I'm charging it right now, and I should be able to turn it on. So it should be much bluer and brighter behind me as well. So it shouldn't be so dark as it is right now. And then maybe what this means is the blue lamp you see behind me, I might be able to put that in my bedroom just to add a interesting little lighting, in depth in the other side of, obviously it stretches that way. We'll see. We're just having fun with it, okay? Okay, anyways, let me jump back to at least a normal mode here. So, Zion, you're asking the Nikon ZR as in the collab with Red? Yes, 100%. Although when they say collab, it's kind of an interesting because as far as I know, I believe they've acquired Red. So now the question has been for all the people in the space, I guess, not that I questioned it, but the question was like, how exactly will Nikon start to integrate Red's technology into their cameras? And does this mean that Nikon is actually invested in going into more film style of things? So I was so new to this space, especially around videography, that it really just didn't, cross my radar in any sense. But now, as you guys have seen in the past year, and then also through the live streams, it has become a huge focus of mine, is like learning how to be a videographer, try to be more professional, understand the world of cinematography, lighting, filmmaking, storytelling, narrative, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, as part of that, I got reached out to by the Nikon team. I have a good relationship out here in the Middle East and African region. And they asked if, based on, I guess, my trajectory and the type of creator that I am, it seems like I was right in the wheelhouse of like this new Nikon ZR. And so they asked if I would be willing to test it out, shoot with it, and then hopefully, create some good reviews for them. But like, that's obviously a hope, but it was like, hey, look, can you test this out and let us know? So I was able to take it out to Uganda for just over 3 days, roughly 3 to 4 days. And so I did like rapid fire filming in 3 days time with this new camera I didn't know how to do anything with, and I don't know anything about filmmaking. And I made my first documentary, and then I put it all together in less than a week, and we have now published it, which is the pinned comment across all the streams. So I hope if you got 5 minutes, please check it out. It's my proudest work yet for all the various reasons, but I hope you enjoy it. Make the chat in screen smaller, says Zion. Make the chat in screen. Oh yeah, this thing. How do I? Okay. You know what? We'll take care of this later because there's too many things I got loaded into this freaking screen. I'm trying my best to keep simplifying the screens, but as you can see, there's a lot that I still need to keep improving. Listen, we were off for 2 weeks. I forgot how to be a streamer. I'm slowly trying to get there again. And I just thought it was my new glasses. Says low base. I'm assuming we'll be talking about our lighting stuff. Hopefully, yes. So we're making slight changes here and there. Tiny little softbox. Was that you, L, thing that gave the recommendation? Either way, L, thank you very much for being here again. Always good to see you. Hopefully everyone is doing well. But yes, we got a tiny little softbox. It's like yay high. I didn't even know they make softboxes that small. So now we have one, and it's working as intended. Zion, you said need a room tour one day. Sure. I mean, my place isn't that big. I live in an apartment, so it's like a 1-bedroom style place. Most of the space is taken up for my cats. Those bastards. They are tiny, and yet they require as much room as possible. So annoying. Anyways, obviously I'm kidding. Oh yeah, hello. My cat is here. Hey Nala. Ooh, yes, I freaked you out. Good girl. All right. Anyways, what else should we say here? Let's catch up. Hey, what's up, Photo Elite? Photo Elite, you said, yeah. Listen, we'll do a little a house tour sometime soon. But I'm telling you, it's not the craziest. Okay, it's not like we're some, we don't live in a big ass place where I can show you more than 2 rooms. At most, I can be like, hey guys, walk with me for 5 seconds. Here's the bedroom. Walk with me for 2 seconds. Here's a bathroom. And then let's walk over here. Here's a storage room. And here's a living room. That's basically what you're going to get. But as I learn how to be an IRL streamer, maybe we can do a stream from my rooftop because we do have a nice little swimming pool there and stuff like that. And I do want to learn how to be a IRL streamer. So Photo Elite was clarifying to Zion, it's not a collab. Nikon owns Red. Yeah, exactly. So in a sense, it is a collaboration in the sense that they are infusing or mixing the two technologies, because clearly Red and Nikon are not necessarily, their strengths were not necessarily in the same ballpark. And so it is interesting that they're using a Nikon body, but now putting in the Red color science. Essentially, is like, the most basic way you can think about this Nikon ZR is that it's a Nikon Z6 III with Red color science, kind of in that ball. I'm not doing it justice, but that's like a little bit of like what this camera does. TWCC chatbot is putting a bunch of messages in here. That's cool. Okay, nice. So it actually works really well. Huge shout out to Photo Elite. Yes, big shout out to Photo Elite. Wait, is this like a chatbot thing, or like does it automatically recognize when someone's in the chat and then it does a shout out? That's pretty cool. Man, these bots are like so smart. Low Base says Z Red. Yeah. Oh yes, I did see someone mention they're calling the camera the Z Red. I guess ZR it's just a little bit easier for me, so we'll call it the ZR. Sounded like an energy drink. Yes. Hey, there's no better energy drink than the Balls drink. BAWLS. If I can get sponsored by them, I'll take it. Bot, I haven't had a chance to stream in like eons. Yeah. Low Base, well, now we have to follow you when you do again. Absolutely. Nikon bought them in April last year. Yeah, I guess time flies. I didn't realize it was that long ago. But yes, this is the first time we're seeing this kind of the Red and Nikon come together on a camera body, right? With this cinema camera body. So very, very exciting times. Zion, you said I literally can't see your face. I think it's because I had the messages too large, right? Yeah, there's a few things I still need to fix with the stream setup, but yeah, we'll put that on the backlog. I'm hoping things will calm the F down once I get back from the US in early October. Oh, nice. So wait, Photo, are you able to say where you are? Yo, thank you very much. It got covered up. Gal Levy Tech, thank you for the follow on Kick. Okay, we're gonna all wait with bated breath to see if Gal Levy Tech is a real person, because you're over on the Kick side. I feel like I've seen your name before, though, so I'm a little bit confused. Gal Levy Tech, thank you very much for that follow on Kick. We're all wondering if people on Kick are real, if they are humans, or if they're all bots or spammers. I was defending Kick earlier to Low Base. I was saying, no. Yesterday, we had at least 2 real people subscribe to me and message in the chat. So some of them are real. And here we have Gal Levy Tech typing in the chat, PP poo poo. Now, would a spammer really type PP and poo poo? I can understand one, but both? I think you're real, man. I think you're one of us. So thank you very much for the follow. And I apologize, guys. I apologize for being so slow with the chats here. Gear recommendation. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. L thing said, I didn't recommend it, just said what I heard when I joined. Gotcha. Okay. Gear recommendations, you can more or less assume it's me, as it was in this case too. Yeah, Photoli, I did speculate it was you, and I did make the assumption it was you, just without remembering exactly, so I think it's a safe assumption. Yeah, so we got our kitties here, setup tour included. Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, as we keep improving the setup, I do have a plan to have an extra camera set up here for like an overhead shot, and then probably another camera. And so if we could do different angles so you guys can actually see what's on my desk, once I learn how to clean up the desk and everything, and you can see exactly what my setup is from a distance. How cool would that be? Can you imagine if I set up a third camera really far away? Or even my iPhone, I guess, could work. And then if we just like swap scenes over to that camera and it's showing like, you know, I don't know. Listen, whatever. We're dreaming here, but we want to have fun with this. And I do want to learn how to be more like, not necessarily a podcaster, but as we learn how to be streamers, one of the exciting things about this has been understanding the different technology that's required, the different softwares, the different ways the cameras have to communicate with each other, with plugins and stuff. So if we can keep evolving that, that'd be great. Low Base says, I don't live in a big ass place. I live in a big ass place. I don't live in a big ass place. I live in a big ass place. Wait, is this like is this some song reference? I don't understand. It sounds like it does. I don't live in a big ass place. I live in a big ass place. Okay, that's how I'm reading it. The timer messages rotate every 10 minutes, but you can change that interval if you want. Gotcha. No, I like it. Cyronius is an incredible member of the Web's Twitch team. Yes, absolutely. Cyronius is also one of those who gave a lot of good advice. Oh, hello, Cyronius. I missed your really poignant message right above that. PP poo poo. But yes, shout out to Cyronis as well. And Suicidal Cat. Hello, Suicidal Cat. Also, yo, what is up with this message? Is this like some cryptic message I don't understand? Or is pee pee poo poo actually mean peeing and pooping? Suicidal Cat, thank you very much for your comments. And I don't know if I've ever seen your name pop up. So if you are a first-time viewer on the YouTube side, well, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your very enlightening message. Continue messaging us with any more wisdom that you have. But yeah, thanks. Low base, as far as shoutouts, the bot will shout out team members automatically the first time they chat, and anybody else can be shouted out manually with ! Shoutout or ! SO if you want to do so. I see. Yeah. I think low base. Oh shoot, I forget her name. I do apologize. But the individual that we rated yesterday, I did see that she had put that in the chat. And so I was like, oh, interesting. So I did put 2 and 2 together. I was like, okay, you can do this ! SO. Cool. I'm taking it 3 weeks in Dallas. Gotcha. Well, safe travels. Hopefully it is for a fun project. Gal Levy Tech is definitely a bot with the emotes. Oh, yeah. Okay. Gal Levy Tech. I'm Saronius Ding Dong. Yes, that's what it is. Because I was going to say, I recognize your name. But then I was like, wait, but then you just follow. So I was like, oh, I was a little bit confused. I was like, is this a new time person? Thank you for being somewhat real. That's a real person, or at least as real as Saronius gets. Exactly. Yeah, you should just type on all 3. Fair enough. Listen, the more engagement, the better. All right. So anytime you guys could shit talk me all you want in the chat, just as long as you are in the chat. That's all I got to say. Bro is just flexing right now. Overhead camera. Yeah. I do have one of these arms, so I could do an overhead, but I mean, yeah, we'll see. I don't have enough wide angle lenses to make that work, at least with my, like, I guess more powerful cameras, but we'll see. Cyronia says, oh, you live in Brazil, a big ass place. Yeah, that's how I read it. Hello to everyone. Yes, Daytor, thank you again for being here. Oh, wait, Daytor, I believe this means if you type something in German, I believe the chatbot will allow me to, it'll translate it into English. So, yeah, hopefully we can test it out. L, you said my cat is under my desk right now. Yeah, L, at least for the stream, you should also... This is one of the coolest things I did when I started streaming was just, I mean, not to say it's a genius idea. It was literally just like, oh, I have an extra webcam here. And yeah, so I was like, okay, let's put a little webcam and see if my cats chill near me. And thankfully, they are both very needy without necessarily always telling me they are. So the moment I set up this little cat bed here, you know, they came over and hung out with us on the stream. So that's been cool. Although I have an extra bed and nobody seems to use it, which is super annoying. It'd be nice if I have both on you know, chilling. Sometimes they report to duty as they are right now. So thank you, Nala. Thanks for being a good girl. Turtle Trams. Yo, what a cool name and a cool avatar. I love pandas. So Turtle Trams, thanks for messaging. And again, I don't know if I've seen you before, so if this is your first time here, thank you very much for tuning into the stream. If you're here because we're supposed to talk about something very important, which is the Nikon ZR, I apologize because usually I get distracted quite easily and we kind of just go at our own time, right? But that is the goal of today. We're going to go through a lot of the Nikon ZR footages. I'm continuing to work on my product review for this camera. So the more I talk about it with you guys, the better anyways, because obviously it'll help me figure out what to say when I turn on the camera and record for the product review. But yes, so thank you, Turtle Trams. Although I'm a little bit confused because your name is Turtle Trams and your avatar, you know, I could excuse if it was a tortoise, you know, because, okay, fine, you're turtle and there's a tortoise, fair enough. But to have a panda and your name's Turtle Trams, I'm a little confused. Or if you had a sheep as your avatar, I can understand that too, because maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe it's saying turt, let, and then rams. And so that's actually a bighorn sheep in your avatar. But a panda? Come on, help me understand. Daytor says, Das ist ein Test. Das ist ein Test. Is my German good? This is a test, is what chatbot said. Nice. Daytor pronounced datore. Or am I saying it wrong? Datore. Okay, you know what? Daytor sounds cooler as an American. It's just more Americanized. I thought it was pronounced Billy Joel. Nice. Low base, you are low-key a funny guy. Having a plan for stream is wishful thinking. Yes, you know what? I still put time in. This is how ridiculous I feel I am. I spend a lot of time before I actually go live, creating a thumbnail, making a little agenda thing, and then popping it into my OBS up. So every single time before I go stream, I do all these like manual things, which takes up time. And it's like, is it worth the effort? I have no idea. But here we are continuing to do it. So whatever. And so I do try to plan for the stream, and it just never works out, as is the case. Day tour per set. Turtle says, yeah, I am using the Nikon Z5 II and the 24 to 200 millimeter. Oh, nice. Wait, 24 to 200 millimeter. Hold on. Let me also look at the Z5 Mark II. So you're using the Z5 Mark II. I'm just not as familiar with some of these guys, so you would think I am, but oh, nice. So you can do 4K. Okay, now let me see the Nikon 24 to 200 millimeter. I'm not as familiar with it. I don't think I've used this lens before, or have I? Oh no, I've used the 85 to shoot. I forget the number. Okay, let's check this one out. 24. Either way, the 24 to 400. 24 to 200. That's a really good focal range, and for the fact that it's keeping it at f4 to 6.3, I think I read, that's pretty decent. Interesting. All right, well, welcome, fellow Nikon user. You know what? Oh yeah, low base. I was going to ask you about that, right? We talked about it earlier. How can I create a Team Nikon, Team Canon, Team Sony, and at the very least, how can I create something custom on the screen? So let's say when you're watching the stream, it could even show like the number of Team Canon, Nikon, and Sony are either live or just over time has if I did like somehow a survey, or I'm able to collect the information from people, how can we start having a tally of how many people use which gear, or which team do they align themselves with? It'd be kind of cool if I could have that as a permanent fixture on the stream. So you like just how you see the numbers of like who's watching the streams, if we can have that. Oh, also, by the way, today's well, thank you guys for all being here. Wow, we got 14 people on YouTube and 8 people on Twitch, and thank you, those lone 2 people, which is one of them is Cyronia, so thank you very much for watching on Kick. Yeah, I'm assuming people are here because I mentioned Nikon ZR, and they're like, yo, when is this guy going to actually go over the freaking footage? He's tricked us. He said ZR in the title, and what the hell, man? This guy's just talking about pandas and PP and poo-poo. So yes, we will go through it, so thank you guys for being here. Photo, you said I got a test in half an hour, and I need to be there on time. All right, well, hopefully you pass your test, or if it's a physical test, hopefully it tests negative. But yes, thank you for the lurk as well. Low base, you said, oh wait, no, let me read Daytor's message. Es ist ein Fantasian something. Jede, Beto, Jesus Christ. I think the last language I'll ever learn is German. I don't think I can speak German. My voice is not meant for it. It's a fantasy name. Every emphasis is okay. I like this translation. So Photo said, you're a Team Nikon. You should be intimately familiar with all their gear. You would think so, Photo Elite. I know you're lurking. You would think I am. But in my defense, I've said this from day one. I do not collect knowledge as if this brain is sealed tight. Okay, my brain is like do they call it a sieve? A sieve? Or when you need to like drain your rice or your noodles, right? That's what my brain is like. So sometimes, depending on the size of the information, it'll stick in my brain. Other times, it just seeps right out. This is what, you know what? I survived this long in my life with it, so we're just going to continue, but yeah.
Hello. Good morning, all of you beautiful and wonderful people.
That reminds me, let's go ahead and change our TTS voice. Hello, BC. Thank you for being here. Thanks for also testing out our little voice donut, which reminds me that I do need to change it. So let's go ahead and log into our TTS monster thing. Low base, you said that's very doable programmatically. Yes, that sounds like it would be if I knew how to programmatically do anything. So I am do-unable with the programs. Oh yeah, so Eric, you said you're team Nikon. I have a Z6 III, though I still adapt my old FX lenses. I use the 85 f1.8 and the 50 1.8. Nice, nice. And you're saying, oh yeah, so both are on the FX side. I am always going to say that Nikon glass is probably the best glass. Without really having tested the others, I just feel strongly enough about that. Yeah. But we need more glass. So hopefully Nikon will now step up and make a bunch of like cinematic lenses and stuff like that. Obviously, selfishly, I would like that. But yes, good morning, BC. And Low Bay says, my brain is a hamster wheel and the hamster died a couple years ago. Oh, well, at least it still has a function then, if you can get another hamster in there. Message me on Discord and we can talk about implementing that. Okay, I definitely will. I think that'd be super cool. I want to see if there's a creative way to do it though. I would like it so it's like someone new comes in, or we just ask it in Discord and just be like, hey, tell us what gear you use. And the moment they give the answer, and then it's like, boom, somehow I need to program it so it's on my screen to show like the community. Like there'll be a little community tab on the screen. And it'll be like, Team Canon, Sony, Nikon, and then we can just see the numbers, right? Something like that. I don't know. There's a good idea there somewhere that just needs to be massaged out. Unless it turns out that like 99% of my community is Team Canon, like BC over here, and they're probably going to be someone that also says like, oh my god, what's that movie called? Top Gun Maverick. Oh, game changer. Really just made me cry. It's beautiful. They're probably that kind of person, right? And then I'm gonna have to do something to change it. That's bold to say without having tested other glass. Yes, we're bold out here. Okay, we make a lot of brash statements. And what are you gonna do? Sue me for being wrong? It's my opinion. It's my opinion, bro. Low Bay says it can absolutely be tied to a Discord role. Okay. Also Canon. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, let's change our voice. Usually I ask ChatGPT. Actually, let's just do that real quick. We have it open over here. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, Amber. Can you hear me okay? Okay, could you choose a new TTS monster voice for us to use on the stream? Just pick a random one. Hold on. Could you do another one? You actually chose that before a long time ago. Let's choose another one. Thank you. Okay. All right. So now we have the Baymax. Elthing, you said we can't hear GPT. Oh, you weren't able to hear that at all? Well, that's confusing. Huh. Wait, can anyone else confirm? Like, did anyone else hear Baymax? Oh, wait, can you guys not hear the music either? Oh, hold on 1 second. Somehow something got turned all the way down. Wait. Okay, do you guys hear music now? Huh. That's weird. Okay, I believe you guys should hear the music now. Oh, so this whole time I don't think you guys could hear the background music. I don't know why, but when I just looked at my audio mixer in OBS, it was showing that I had dropped the volume all the way to negative at the bottom. But I don't remember ever doing that, so I'm so confused now. Man, I think maybe my cat is doing live streams when I'm asleep, doing some real shady stuff, maybe. As long as they're making money from my account, I'm happy. Okay, so thank you very much, Elthing, for letting me know. I didn't realize you guys couldn't hear anything. So hopefully, guys, you can hear things now. And also, I think it's probably high time that we go ahead and start doing some edits. And let's talk about what's the game plan, what am I working on. And in terms of opinions, nothing's changed necessarily in terms of what my thoughts are with the ZR. Low base, you said BRB, getting my lunch from the fridge. Absolutely, enjoy. Let us know what you're eating. Is it a tuna sandwich again or something? Let us know. We're waiting. Okay, so let's recap a little bit for anyone that's new, but then also just for myself. I shot with the Nikon ZR. It's about 3 days worth of shooting. And during that time, almost everything, actually everything you'll see here, it was shot with R3D NE codec, which is the new red codec that's built for this camera. So, oh wait, that reminds me. I believe I was told that DaVinci Resolve should have like an update, like a firmware update, which I think can start reading the new Nikon, the R3D NE codec. So we're going to do that in a second. We're going to double check if that's true. But anyways, just to summarize, I shot with this camera. It was my first time ever using it. Obviously, it was a pre-launch, so there's a lot of secretive things going on. So I only literally got to use the camera from the moment I landed in Uganda, and then there's a representative from Nikon. And so basically, as I was there on a very, very short 3 days of shooting, I had to quickly learn how to use the camera. So anytime, I will say this in general, if you see a shot that looks really bad, before you attribute that to the camera, just attribute it to myself and user error. There's a lot that I didn't know how to do. I still don't know how to do. Hello, the Design Goddess. Thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Streamlabs. Thank you for thanking the Design Goddess. We got a bunch of these bots set up now. So, but yeah, thank you very much, Design Goddess. We are not necessarily designers, but let me go ahead and give you a follow. I'm assuming based on your name, you might be someone that's very artistic. So I appreciate the follow, and we have followed you back. All right. So, as I've said, I'm not necessarily a professional filmmaker. I've just been someone that got into videography a couple years ago, and it started mostly on like the Instagram side. So I went from photography and mostly doing wildlife photography in the past few years. Then I started doing more wildlife Instagram reels and doing just like very short form content for Instagram. And I really, really, really enjoy doing that. And it turns out like I was pretty decent at it, if I do say so myself. I was really, because I spent a lot of time trying to make it look nice, but that was like short form content. So then my biggest challenge was I wanted to see, can I open up a YouTube channel and can I start doing long form content? Because I travel quite a bit. And it always felt like a shame that I would spend 2 weeks in a country somewhere and then only share a 10-second video from that trip as an Instagram reel. So then I challenged myself to like actually create some travel vlogs, and that's been really fun. So if you've been tuning into this stream from day one, a lot of my time has been editing in, so behind the scenes you get to watch as I edit for my travel vlogs. The most recent one we were working on was Mongolia, episode 1, and then episode 2. And then as we started episode 2, my next challenge was, can I do video editing less in the style of a travel vlog and more in a cinematic storytelling side of things? So less of like a diary of like, here I was on day 1 doing this, then day 2 I did that. Can I completely not even have my voiceover, and like, can I tell a very thematic story? And so that was a big challenge. And thankfully, as we were trying to figure that out for episode 2 of Mongolia, this is when I got approached by Nikon to test out the camera. And so that's where I decided to put an extra challenge on myself to not only shoot with this camera for, testing out the camera quality, can I actually make a documentary film? Can I actually push myself to do something I've never done before and use this as a good opportunity to try? So thankfully they were okay with me doing something like make a documentary without me ever having the experience doing it. And I pitched this concept of going to this island, and it turned out very, very good. I'm really happy with the results. But the video that I've pushed on my YouTube channel, it is pinned on all the chats. So if you guys have 5 minutes, go ahead and watch that video on my YouTube channel. It's called Island of Second Chances, and it's all shot with the Nikon ZR. And I'm really happy with it. It's only 5 minutes, but that means there's like so much content that I shot that hasn't, obviously I didn't get to share it in the final video. So we will definitely work through a lot of these footages and continue editing them, seeing if there's more YouTube videos we can make from it, because there's so much awesome footage that I have. And so, yeah, anyways, that's the kind of like the top priority of the stream, is going through all that. Low base, you said, I've returned with ham sandwich. Oh, I was close. I thought it was going to be a tuna sandwich. Fruit, vegetables, and baked beans. Okay, well, listen, you do you, is what I'll say. I'm not a fan of baked beans, but but I'm not one to ever critique other people's choice of food, unless it's British food. Man, I was going in on British food a while ago, and I stand by it. Okay, anyways, let's check out the color science. Let's check out a bit more. Again, a little caveat: this is now shot with a pre-production unit, and this is not directly converted from the raw codec into DaVinci, because obviously I was using a pre-production unit. This is before launch, so we had to use a different software to convert this into something that DaVinci could actually color grade with. However, I was told that apparently DaVinci has pushed out a firmware update that I believe should mean that the raw codec, the red any codec that I was using, should be readable now. So that might be worth checking out real quick. So let me see. I'm going to put on the side here, DaVinci Resolve firmware update. And let's just confirm if I have the latest version. Where do I see that? Maybe it's under About. Version 20.1.1 build 7. Version 20.1.1 build 7. Let's see, what do I see on the Blackmagic version? DaVinci Resolve. Okay, let's see. Something was updated last Wednesday. Version 20.2. That was last Wednesday. So I don't think this would be it. Okay, you know what? We'll take care of this one later because I don't know if this has the updates anyways. So, all right, we'll put this off to the side for now. It would have been nice if I could just play with it right away. Low Base, you are rich. Hello, hello, Nico. Welcome back to the stream. Thank you guys for being here, guys. You need version 20.2? Oh, Turtle, you're saying... Okay, so maybe that is the right one. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and... Let's go download it. Thank you very much, Turtle. So let me download this one. But I'm so confused because it says it was last updated on Wednesday, which means they did this 20.2 is before the announcement of this camera. But maybe it's one of those things where they, you know, Nikon and Blackmagic had a conversation, you know, behind the scenes maybe? I don't know. Okay, is there a way I can update it from here? Usually it just automatically shows up where it says like, hey, do you want to update DaVinci? Why is this so difficult for me to check for updates? I'm an idiot. It was right in front of me this whole time. Okay, let's go ahead and download this 20.2. I'm assuming that means I should close DaVinci for now. Now, one other thing I need to do on the stream is I need to start updating. I need to finish editing photos from Japan. So if you guys recall, I mentioned that I'm going to be running a tour to Japan next year in February. So it's going to be a wildlife tour. I think it's going to be 9 to 10 days. And yeah, I took 3 photographers with me earlier this year. I loved it so much that I'm like, okay, let's set it up for next year. But things are slightly different because that one I went with another tour guide who like kind of, you know, showed us around. And this time I'm just going to be doing this solo. So anyways, I need to kind of continue editing these photos that I took from Japan. And yeah, then we got to start putting this through. If you would like to see my tours and if you would like to join me on my tours, here's a link, !tours. It should pop open to my website. And right now you should be seeing 2 tours that are available. Both are going to Uganda for next year. And it's tours that are focused on the great apes and the shoebill storks. So it's about 9 to 10 days. You can join me on these travels. It's a small group tours where we will go to do a few gorilla treks, chimpanzee treks, as well as going out to see the shoebill stork. So if you like that kind of wildlife and adventure style trips, or if you know anyone, do share. These are not cheap trips, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, did DaVinci download? Where is it? Let's go to downloads. Where is the DaVinci? Sort by. There it is. Okay, 20.2. Okay. Let's download this bad boy. So wait, Turtle, are you saying this 20.2 version is now the one that's got the actual codec? Troy, you are gambling it all. Nice. Oh, you won some. Nice. Okay, that's better than me. I feel like I'm on a losing streak here. And guys, the points don't get you anything right now besides prestige, knowing that you have the most PP of everyone here. But if you believe in me, if you believe that we will be a successful streamer long term, and we'll continue growing an audience and all that fun stuff, at some point, those PPs will be worth something. It won't be worth money though, but it'll be worth something. What it'll be worth, it could be negative worth too, to be fair, but it'll be worth something. And so you guys are just warming up for that day, whatever that day is. But I do want to do it something where it's like, as I have giveaways, so maybe whoever has the most PPs in a certain time frame, we can give away some of our gear, right? So we'll have more fun with it as we go. Always go all in, says Mr. Troy Anthony Photo, Mr. Tap. You know what? My goal is like just always do whatever BC's doing, because Brandon always seems to know how to gamble properly. Does he gamble responsibly? No, but he somehow gamed the system. Nikon sponsored giveaways. Yeah, L. If we get to a point where we get one sponsor, then we can talk. Okay, we're not at that stage yet. We've been trying. Not really, but you know, unless manifesting it or saying it on the stream counts. But we would love to be sponsored by Hot Cheetos, Balls for the energy drink. Somehow National Geographic if they ever do that kind of stuff. Let's go with those three for now. Oh, no. Sorry. I'm an idiot. Lens distortions. Lens distortions is number one. Probably no. Hot Cheetos first, then lens distortions. Then maybe Chipotle or Panda Express. But yeah. Biggest PP always. Good on you. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to make you the biggest PP of the year at some point. All right. Installation is done. Let me go and open up DaVinci. Now, what does this 20.2 come with? What are the updated... Oh, it tells me. Oh, sorry, guys. I can't show it. It's on the other screen. So it says, what's new in DaVinci Resolve? Source and track patching. Powerful source and target track patching in the timeline track header. I have no idea what that means. Ripple edits always in sync. Improved ripple trimming sync preservation. Okay. Cinematic haze. Ooh. New AI-based Resolve FX to emulate real-world outdoor smoke and fog. So you're telling me the money I spent on my goddamn PMI Smoke Ninja haze is for nothing? Although, yeah, Photo Elite, that is one purchase that I kind of regret because we didn't end up getting to use it on this trip because it was too windy everywhere I tried to use this smoke machine. And I believe you were the one who recommended to me, so how dare you? But we hope to use it on future shoots for what it's worth. Custom metadata fields, okay. Ripple delete silence. Option to ripple delete silent time gaps. Okay, that's nice. Large trim editor. Automatic switch to single viewer trim editor when dynamic trimming. Apple ProRes RAW decoding. Interesting. Oh, nice. Okay, so they can now do Apple ProRes RAW decoding. Because a lot of my trips, I sometimes will shoot with my iPhone in RAW. Or yeah, like anytime I use a ProRes RAW, it's annoying that I can't actually see it. I have to do it in Final Cut and then bring it into DaVinci. Samsung APV encode. Okay, so I don't see anything about this new. I don't see anything about this new. R3D codec. But we'll test it right now. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's check it out. All right, so we got DaVinci loaded back up again. So this is the new 20.2 version. And I don't know if this is the one that's somehow going to magically read the codec properly. But let's find out. So where should I go? Let me go to the... Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Ooh. Wait, is that true? Oh wait, is this it? Is this it? I have to make sure, because I might have downloaded it somewhere else. Let me see. Hold on a minute. Okay, something's off, I think. Because it's saying 16-bit depth, which is not true. Hello, RWA. Is that for Rwanda? Rwanda Coma? Eric Creasy, thank you very much for the subscription. Thank you on the YouTube side. Hells yes. Thank you very much. RWA Coma. Every time I see RWA, I'm assuming Rwanda, but yeah. Nico, how can I gamble the PP points? Very, very simple, Nico. All you have to do is do ! gamble and put in a number of points, but you have to see how many points you have. So first you have to do ! points, and then you'll see. And then there are different ways to gamble it as well. It's all in the commands that you have to look through. Hey, Central ENT from YouTube asked the average battery life on the ZR. Ooh, okay, that is a good question. I don't have a good answer because I didn't. I'm trying to remember if I was able to stress test it that much. It's okay. I did an over an hour interview shooting at and I shot this in red raw, 4K, 24 frames per second, I believe, and I filmed it for over an hour and 10 minutes or so on a single battery for what it's worth. I apologize. I'm trying to remember, but I think it was pretty good. Like, I think I only remember one time that I had to swap out batteries while I was shooting. And that's because I was filming all day and I just forgot to. Actually, no, I'm probably lying there. I don't mean that. Because I did use up a bunch of batteries throughout the day, but I never felt like it was draining the battery worse than I'm used to, or like, you know, compared to other cameras. It seemed reasonable. Sorry, that's not the best answer, but I didn't ever think to myself like, oh my god, the battery's draining so fast. Like, this is a detrimental aspect of the camera. I never felt that way. It seemed like a reasonable time that I was able to film throughout the day. And then after filming for like 30 minutes or however long of like 6K 60 frames and stuff, maybe at some point I was like, okay, I need to switch batteries. Elthing, you said okay, sorry guys, I missed a few things. Is ball still a thing? Asked Brandon. BC, I remember drinking that back in college when doing Midnight Halo release. Yeah, we had a whole stream like a month ago where I looked into this, and balls is still out there. Okay, so I was like, yo, come on, balls. Can you imagine our stream? It's like all we talk about is PP and balls. Come on, it's like a match made in heaven, really. But yeah, it's still a thing. I didn't know it was like such a big thing back, or I didn't know it was a gamer thing back in the day for streamers. But yeah, I had balls back when I was in high school in the convenience store. It was delicious. I probably shouldn't say things that end up being clippable in the worst way possible. L, you said, I'm gonna send you something on Discord real quick. Okay, sorry, yeah. I have it turned on all the time, and some streamers swear by it. How can I gamble the PP points? Yes. And then, with everyone here, does anyone have gift ideas for photographers that not a lot of people have, or anyone can always use more of said item? I think one of the coolest gifts that I've given, or it's like if you give them one of those Polaroids, so like the Fujifilm Instax as an example. I think those things are really cool, like the new technologies where it's not just a Polaroid, but you can also use it to print in a Polaroid style, or it connects to Bluetooth to your phone, and you can send photos to the thing and it prints it out. I think that's really cool. Looking for and then gamble. Low base, you said fast SD CF Express cards. 2, sturdy but compact cleaning kits. 3, extra batteries. 4, rugged portable SSDs. 5, nice lens cloth multi-packs. 6, good straps. Ooh, yeah, anything with Peak Designs. Yeah, that's always a good gift, depending on the price. Subscription to editing presets. Oh, yes. You know what? Oh, my God. What a brilliant idea. L thing, you know what you should gift your photographer friend? Exclamation mark presets. Does this work? Yes. You should gift them the beautiful, beautiful, over 100 presets made by yours truly, Yobel Prize. Once they start using these presets, my goodness, it's going to be game-changing, revolutionary, okay? But yeah, I think it's a good idea, though, like doing like editing presets or like software stuff. Get them a lens coffee mug. Oh, I do have one of those. Oh, actually, that's a really good idea too. I don't have it right now, but like I usually drink out of this. It's like it looks like a lens, but it's just a normal glass. Because I've been thinking of light meters, carry systems, Polaroid cameras with film, and good storage cards. Memory cards are always a big thing, yes. Okay, sorry guys, we got a bit distracted, but okay, we've downloaded the new version of DaVinci Resolve, and from what I'm seeing here, I believe it is very true that all the files are readable. I'm just a little bit confused because here it's saying 16-bit depth when that's not the case. I mean, not that I'm complaining, but I'm a little confused. Maybe, yeah, there might be a little typo here and there. Now, if they were to be like, surprise guys, this camera is actually not 12 bits. It's actually 16-bit red raw at $2,200. I will be like, God bless you. Nikon for life. Nikon for life. Excuse me. Okay, what does this mean? That means I need to let me drink some water here, or sparkling soda. Okay. I think this means I need to recreate a bunch of these timelines that I have. Unfortunately, that means doing a lot of extra work because we have the actual raw, we have the raw file converted directly within DaVinci. So why work with, you know, even if the difference is maybe somewhat negligible, I don't know. But let's actually look, for the first time, we're going to be able to check this out together on a live stream. Let's see how this looks. Straight from, again, keep in mind, it is a beta camera. This is a pre-production unit still. But we should be able to start checking this out. So let me go ahead and exit out of all these timelines. And we're going to now start creating new timelines using our actual red codec files converted directly inside of DaVinci Resolve. So, okay, we've exited most of these things. And let's start creating some new timelines under raw input. Oh, this is going to be so much work, but is there an easy way to do this? Can I just duplicate all the timelines from this one maybe? I think that's the right answer. So, okay, let's see if I can do this. Can I just duplicate this folder? Looks like I can't do that. Maybe I can't duplicate multiple. Oh no, there we go. Okay, but are these the same? Let's do a test here. Let me do version 2. Okay, so we did duplicate all the timelines, which is good. But now I gotta delete everything from each of these timelines. And God, there's gotta be a faster way to do this. Give me a second, guys. I need to think out loud here to figure out what's the most organized way I can re-add in all of the red files into DaVinci based on the fact that I shot in everything from 24 frames to 30 frames, 60 frames, and 120 frames. And, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to create 2 files. Oh, shit. Because the other problem is all the resolutions are different. So I make a lot more work for myself than is needed. What to do? Okay. We'll just do it this way. Whatever. I don't know how to do shortcuts. So let me go ahead and delete everything from each of these new timelines. Let's rename these timelines as well. L thing, you're asking, it's 12-bit, right? The Nikon Red RAW? Yes. It's 12-bit R3D NE. Nikon edition, I believe is what I was told. But yeah, in DaVinci right now it's telling me 16-bit, but I believe that's just incorrect. I think that must just be like the firmware thing. But yeah, I'll be happy if it is 16-bit. Don't get me wrong. Okay, so let's go ahead and recreate these guys. We're gonna rename these ones. Let's do this version 2 _ All right, bear with me, guys. I'm doing all this boring stuff here. But yeah, Elthing, let us know what you end up deciding on for a gift. BC says, I have to go do a guest lecture for a college professor friend on motion/action photography. Ooh, interesting. I'll hopefully be back before you sign off, but if not, have a wonderful rest of your day and stream. Well, thank you very much, BC, for that. Enjoy. Best of luck to you on doing this guest lecture. That's pretty dope. Motion and action photography. Hells yeah. Yeah, enjoy. That sounds like a really cool topic. I would like to, you know, if I could participate in that, that'd be cool. But yeah, awesome stuff, man. But yeah, best of luck to you. And if I see you later on, awesome. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next day. And yeah, it's okay. You can't always win. You can't end the day on a win all the time. But I appreciate you gambling anyways on our behalf. Okay. Let's go ahead and change all the names here. This is so, again, I say the word autistic, but I don't mean it in a negative way, but I am very, I guess OCD might be the other way to say it. But I'm doing extra work more than is probably necessary. And I just don't know any other way to do this. So what I'm doing right now is I have all these timelines that I had created for the different days that I was filming and the different frame rates that I used. And then I do this so that I populate all the footage into each one of these. Actually, you know what though? I think there is a simpler way to do it. Maybe instead of doing it by days, let's just do one for each of the frame rates. So let me just look through this real quick. So we got a 24-piece slowed. We'll keep this one. We've got 4K 120, 6K 30, 6K 60, 4K 30. So we don't need this 121. We have 6K 30, 6K 60, 4K 120, 4K 30. What are we missing then? 4K 24p, this one. Okay, so then the rest of these, I should be able to delete, right? So let's delete this one. Is there a shortcut? I think I just saw it. 4K 30. Shift delete. Okay. 6K 60. Let me just double check. Yep. Okay. BC says, I'll see if we can record and share it with you. Hells yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind just looking at all this. I was reading it wrong too, I just realized. 6K 60, 6K 30. So those are the main two I need to keep. So I can delete, can I delete multiple at once? Let's see. Yes, perfect. Okay, so I have 6K 60, 6K 30, 4K 120, and 4K 30. So we don't need this 4K 120s. 4K 120. Okay, let's delete those. 4K 30, so let's delete all the 4K 30s. 4K 30. $4K 60. $4K 60. Okay, that I need to keep. 6K 60. Let's delete that one. God, this is so... I hope it's worth the effort, okay? But listen, we're about to test out these the Nikon Red RAW codec directly converted inside of here, so this will be exciting. But again, with all the caveats, as I said, that these are obviously like the beta files, so I'm sure it might not be exactly the right ones from like what the launch camera will have. But at least we're going to play with some of the nearest looking files. 4K 60, 4K 24p, I got that one here. So let's delete these ones. And is that it? 4K 24p. 4K 60. Okay, so then let's just rename some of these guys. Version 2. And then I'll delete the date. We'll just go version 2, 4K 60. Same with this one. Version 2. So we got 4K 60. .4K 30. We call this tedious. Okay, there we go. And then I think these ones were just for the different cameras I was using and like the Atomos. So I'll delete this one as well. All right, now let's just go into each of these and let me just delete whatever's inside of them. Oh shit. Okay, I don't want to delete that one. This is the Z8. That is the Z8, so I don't want to delete those. These ones we do want to delete. Okay, Christ. We're there. Okay, let me now just rearrange these guys. So 4K 24, then we got 4K 24p slowed. Then we've got vertical, which we don't really care about too much right now. 4K 24, then we've got 4K 120. We don't need these Z8 ones for now. Then we got 6K 30, 6K 60. Okay, that should be it. All right. There we go. Let's go to, should we start with a 6K? 6K 60 maybe? Okay. Now the other thing I need to double check is which version of this. Okay, so it might actually be easier for me to look through my Finder. Because I think, yeah, I have a bunch of these folders and some of them were copies. Where was it? Sorry guys, this is the super boring part, as I just learned that I had the new DaVinci Resolve, which apparently should be able to read the codec directly, or in some way. Although I think the information is not exactly accurate, so we'll have to see to what extent it works. But let me see if I can drag in the files from the right SSD over here. Okay, so let's go to clips. We'll just say older version. And then we'll say newer version. Okay. Okay. I believe I can start dragging all of these guys in from the 29th. Oh shoot, did I do it right? Okay, I think I did it wrong. There we go. Okay. So I think these are the right files. Okay. And then the 31st, where is that? R3D. So again, I'm not really familiar. This is the first time I was ever shooting in this red codec. But for the files, it's called R3D. I don't know if that's new or if like all the red files are usually ending in dot. I'm assuming this is new. I'm assuming this is to do with this new camera. But yeah, R3D is the codec. Okay, let's drag in these guys. Okay, I think I have them all now. And then let's start putting this into frame rate. No. Let's do it. How should I do this? Maybe I have to do it by resolution. And then let's do by frame rates. FPS. 59. Okay. So then I should be able to just click on this one. Select all of the 6K. Oh, it's almost all of them. Up until here. Okay. Let's drag that in. So these should all be the 6K 60. Cyronius says R3D equals red, ding dong. Thank you very much for calling me a ding dong. I can't remember the last time I was called that. But you would think, Cyronius, that ding dong. Okay, keep in mind what my name is. My name is Yobel. And I've had some people in the past who've come up with the most clever nicknames for me. Everything from Yobel Bottoms to For Whom Yobel Tolls to Yo Quiero Taco Bell to like, yeah, you name it. Everything's been said. One of the ones that made me laugh the most was when someone called me Yo Ding Dong, where they replaced the bell with the actual sound. And I did get a laugh out of that one. So I have been called Yo Ding Dong in the past. R3D equals red. Yes, I understand. I understand the R3D is for red, but I didn't know if like .R3D is like, is that like a new for this camera specifically? Or like, I'm assuming then if you have a red camera, it doesn't end in R3D. I don't know. I don't know if it's like, is this a new naming convention for these files, or if it's just in general, like all red files end in .R3D. Okay, so that's all the 6K 60 frames. Let's move to 4K 60. Why did I shoot 4K 60? What was this? Oh, okay. I guess I did. I don't remember ever filming in 4K 60. Okay. Which means I need to create a new freaking raw inputs. Let's rename this one with new raw files. Okay, so now we have to create a new one for 4K 60. I thought I had it, didn't I? I do have one for Z6 All right, F it. We'll just create a new one. So we'll call this one version 2 underscore 4K 60p for the ZR. Oh, come on. I should have. Okay, we can change it later. Okay, 4K and then 60 frames per second. Let's make the monitor 4K as well and use all the full stuff. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's drag this over. 4K 60. And then where the freak did I put the clips? Newer versions. Okay, here we go. Oh my god. I'm sure a lot of you are looking at this going like, yo, this guy is doing every freaking step and it's so unnecessary. There's like more efficient things, or I don't have to follow every freaking step the way I am, but this is the way I am. I am the way I am. Joe Bell. I have heard this one as well, by the way. Joe Bell. Because I grew up in Arizona, so I grew up with a lot of my Mexican homies, and so they didn't know how to pronounce the Y, like yo, so they always call me Joe Bell. The R3D file type has been around since Red had raw video. Gotcha. It's been around since 20,099, the year 20,099. Yo, this camera's so good, it's in the future. There's a guy who advocates for the 28 to 135 PZ for the best daily camera lens. Yo, I wish I did have more time to practice with that, the PZ lens. I had 3 days, and with the limited time, I ended up just leaning towards the prime lenses whenever possible. So, okay, what did we do last time here? Oh yeah, frames, 59 frames per second, and then let's grab all the 4K ones. And it's 4032, 2268. Okay, let me change that real quick. 4032, 2268. 4032, 2268. Okay. And then let's drag all of these guys in here. Cool. So we did 6K 60, 4K 60, and now let's move to 6K 30. 29 frames per second. And these are almost all 6K. These are the 6K ones. And then we have two that are 4K 30. Christ. My God. Okay, is it worth it? Are these good clips? Hells no. Okay. I'm not going to create a timeline for these. These are throwaway shots. Joel Bell. Do you eat Taco Bell? I do not. Actually, I was never really a fan of Taco Bell, except for when they had that one. Was it like they had some kind of Dorito? What am I thinking of? It was like a Crunchwrap Supreme type thing, but it was something to do with like Doritos or something. That I enjoyed. And then I enjoyed that little game at all the Taco Bell where you have to like drop a penny and have it float on something. But I was always a McDonald's guy, and I was a Jack in the Box guy. And Jack in the Box, they had this really good, what the hell did I always get there? It was some kind of fish something. But yeah, anyways. Okay, so we did the 6K 30, and then I need to do 120, so 119. And these are all the same resolution, 3984. Let's drop that into the 4K. Okay. What are we missing? 6K 60, 6K 30, 4K 120, 4K 60, and then we need our 4K 24p. Although this one shouldn't matter too much, but I guess why not? These were the interviews, I believe. Okay. Let's go to the 6K 60. Let's find a nice shot. Is this all the shots? Oh no, there's a lot more. Okay. I was getting nervous. I was like, wait, that's it? I thought I shot a lot more. Yeah, we got a lot. We got plenty. What a trip. Look at this. Look how many crazy shots we took. I was busy, okay? I filled up, I think I ended up with 10 terabytes worth of footages. So I did go a little bit too much. But that is my nature. I oftentimes, I am a bit much, so. Jesus, we do have a lot of footage though. Okay, I want to see how it looks on this shot because this is one of my favorites. The Baja Blast. Oh wait, I don't think I ever had that. The Filet-O-Fish is my all-time favorite in McDonald's. I always get my fish fillet or Filet-O-Fish. That is one of the longest lasting relationships I have in my life, is my relationship with Filet-O-Fish. All the way back in the day when, yeah, we don't know to this day, is it Filet-O-Fish or is it fish fillet? Because they would keep changing up their goddamn mind. But I still remember when Filet-O-Fish They tried at one point to change up the recipe, and they added freaking lettuce and tomato into the fish fillet, and eventually they realized, no, stick back to what you know, which is the weird buns, slapping of tartar sauce, a cheese that's like folded in half and always misplaced, not centered, and then the mystery fish with the nice little flakes on it. Slap it together. Oof. I think I can attribute my strong stomach and to the fact that I usually don't have like food poisoning when I travel or any like stomach issues. I probably can attribute some of it to the fact that I had so much kimchi growing up. Sure. But I think it's also McDonald's. When you test your stomach with Filet-O-Fish every once in a while, it's like a workout. It's a battle for your life type thing, right? But it's like building up your immune system. So it's like taking a vaccine. And in this case, Filet-O-Fish was a vaccine against like some of the toughest food in the world. Because it is a mystery fish. It's probably poison in some way, but yeah. Okay, anyways, we got this clip. Let's see. Let's see if the power grade works. I believe the power grade should work as is. Because I'm using red wide gamut RGB and red log 3G10. I believe both of these are correct. So, okay. Tone mapping method. Now, again, I'm so new to all of this. I have no idea what a lot of these words mean. I don't know if, yeah. Gamut mapping. Right now I have it set to none. And there's a bunch of advanced settings. Use white point adaptation. I should probably watch a video on this, but all right, for now though, let's just check this out. Let's see. Beautiful, beautiful. So I like going super dark with these shots anyways, but and in the documentary film that I made, I applied a healthy bit of the dehancer to this. So we added a bunch of the halation and the bloom effect. And I think it turned out really cool. I liked how it looked. Because then it makes the eye glow. So in those moments where it's like, you know, it's nice and sharp and there's no shadows, when you see that eye pop in, with that halation and the bloom effect, it was like, ooh. All right, and here's what we're gonna do. Whoops. We are going to, should I do it here? No, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna drag all of these guys over. I'm gonna put it onto, I have two timelines we can use. One is the 4K 24p slowed, and then I'll put all of the files into here in like slow motion for us to review. And then I have 4K 24p again, but like in real time. Although, let me double check. This one is 4032 and okay, so I think I need to create a new one. So we'll create one called version 2 underscore 4K 24p real time. And we'll make the resolution the typical, you know, the typical one, 3840 by 2160. And let's do 4K monitor. In your eyes. Okay. So now we can drag everything into just two timelines if we need to look at it, but at least I'll have one timeline with all the footages slowed down. So let's take, let's start with the 30 frames, 6K 30. Let me just drag these over. Oh man, everything looks different now. Shoot. Because we've updated the, How do I name my tracks now? Lock track version 1. Wait, is there a way to... Okay, in this new version, how the F do I rename my tracks? You gotta be shitting me. Is there not a way? Change track color. That doesn't help me. Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? Actually, wait, no, it is a big deal. Oh, wait, it's right here. Okay. Haha. We're going to call this 30p. So then let's do 6K 60p. So let's drag every one of these guys over. Bring it over to this load. Jesus, it's a lot of files. And then we'll move it up one. So these are the 60p shots. And we do have a bit more, so let's I don't think it matters here, but let's do 60p and then the 4K 60p. Okay. Let's drag that up. So I don't know if this is necessarily the smartest way to do video editing. It's just the way I do it. So basically right now, because I'm mixing in a bunch of different frame rates into a single timeline, I just have the different frame rate shots in different tracks. So that the track number 1 is the one I relabeled as 30p. So all of the 30 frames per second videos I'm putting into that. All the clips are there. Then I have the second track, which is called 60p. So all of these are the 60 frames per second. Then the one above that is going to be the 120 frames. So all of these guys. Let's paste it in. And then we'll drag it up to the third track. And we'll rename this one 120p. And technically there's a... No, you know what? This is good enough. Okay, so now we have all the files here. So ideally what this means is I should... I think there's an easier way to do it too anyways, but... Oh, you know what? Also, let's turn off the output blanking and just get the full screen. Okay. Is there a way for me to easily do Command A and capture all of these guys? Oh, yeah. All right, and then let's just apply the grade to everything. Perfect. All right. Now we can review each of these files. Now, this is probably one of the worst shots to try, because I think, let's see. I was playing around with the camera, obviously. Yeah, so that whole shot is just a wash. I might as well throw it away, because I wasn't even in focus. Delete. Okay. And then that means over here in the product review side, we might have to redo some of this, but okay. Anyways, we are doing a lot of reworking here, but I don't know any other way to operate besides like just starting over clean. Even if, okay, anyways, I'm not doing a good job explaining myself anyways. All right, let's check out these footages. So these are, again, just keep in mind, these are all shot with the new ZR camera. These are all pre-production shots though. So the colors and everything may not necessarily be what you'll see when they launch the real camera. But essentially, this should give you a good representation of what the camera quality will be when it is launched. So this is using the new R3D-NE codec. It's the red raw codec designed for this Nikon camera. So it's a 12-bit red raw codec. So it's not as powerful as like the 16-bit one. Although the DaVinci said it was 16, which is, I mean, listen, I'll be happy, but yeah. Okay, so anyways, that's what we're working with, and I believe there's nothing I need to change here. So right now the input color space is the red wide gamut RGB. Input gamma is red log 3G10, and I'm just converting it into the DaVinci wide gamut intermediate space while we edit, and then we export it out into the Rec 709. We learned a few things. I apologize, I'm forgetting his name yesterday. Thuriel, I think was his name. Someone in the chat yesterday was explaining, because he is a colorist. So that was pretty cool. We're meeting new people in the chat, and like, you know, talented people and all that. But yeah, he introduced me to the fact that I should just use the HDR color wheels when it comes to increasing or like lifting the shadows. So he showed me a few different options that people will usually use as colorists. And then he mentioned he usually likes to use the color wheel. And at least one of the cool things about this is, like, just by clicking this button, you can see exactly what pixels are essentially going to be affected by any changes you make to the color wheel here. So shadow, for instance, grabbing almost everything, whereas the dark wheel is really focusing on the darkest areas, it seems. So then you can do a bit more like a refined lifting of the shadows or the darks without necessarily impacting the rest of your shot. But you can see here, this is obviously a very, very dark shot that I took. And we had this conversation yesterday. So, like I said, I am very new to filmmaking, so we were learning a lot of concepts as we went. And prior to the start of this trip, I was also doing a lot of like research, watching YouTube videos, just trying to understand like the different techniques and the different things to keep in mind when you are filming professionally. So, and a few of the things is pretty similar to photography, so it's not like new concepts to me. But one of them was like, I'm usually using the histogram as opposed to the waveform or other types of these kind of scopes. And usually in my camera view, it's not like a RGB histogram. It's usually just a single one that shows you where are all the pixels lined up, like from dark to from pure black, which is 0, to pure white, which is at the very end here. It says 4095. It tells you where all the pixels that your sensor is capturing, and it lays it out. It maps it out based on, you know, how many pixels are close to black versus close to white. And so you get a nice little mountain landscape that tells you, is your shot more on the underexposed side, as it is the case here? Is it more neutrally balanced in the sense that, like, you know, the mountain is more centered? Or is it overexposed and then you see all these pixels lining up over on the right side? So yeah, that's how I normally look when I'm taking photos and videos. I'll look at the histogram as a way to tell, like, oh shoot, I'm overexposed. But sometimes it might not be the best. Like, there might be a few bright areas, but you might not pick it up necessarily here. It looks like a lot of experts or professionals, they use the waveform more often. And then there's something called false color, but I don't have access to that. That wasn't built into the camera. So anyways, I was playing around with the waveform during my shoots. And regardless, same thing applies. Normally you want to have somewhat of an overexposed shot, whereas a lot of times I was filming where it's slightly underexposed. And so I was not necessarily doing it the right way. But it was more coming from a fear that I had, it's uninformed fear for sure. And but yeah, anyways, I had a fear based on what I was seeing in the view assist while I was filming, that if I shot it where the waveform is more mid to the upper part, that I was filming in something that looked way too overexposed. And I should have just trusted the camera to say, like, that's fine, because then once you're in post, you should be able to drop the light a bit and it'll be fine without any weird noise. So, but listen, we're new to the space and I didn't know what to do properly, clearly. Okay, so anyways, let's just take a select few shots here and review them. So probably let's go with the main ones, right? So here's an example, right? So this is as shot with the conversion, and you can see, like, I shot this pretty low exposure, which again, any experienced videographer would then look at this and go like, yo, why did, couldn't you have like shot in maybe the second base ISO? So I'm assuming I shot this at 800 ISO when I could have shot this at the 6400 ISO, and then I had an ND filter, so I could have always dropped it, added a few stops or dropped a few stops, and then get it to, in post, trusting it enough to drop it. Kind of like this shot, maybe. Like this one, it's a little bit more neutrally balanced, and then it allows me to, in post, go and like drop whatever I need to. But it's just much easier to rescue, the data in like in the brights than it is in the darks, is my understanding. So anyways, this is how I shot it though. Very, very dark. So let's see how much I can rescue. Thankfully, quite a bit. So that's one of the cool things about this camera is, again, the fact that it's got... Nikon says it's about 15 plus stops of dynamic range. And whatever the number is, at the very least, it's a noticeable difference to me. Coming from shooting with the Nikon Z9 and the Z6 III, it was a very, very noticeable increase in the dynamic range. And so, yeah, even the shots that we're seeing where it's like, oh, it's pretty pitch black, but I am able to lift it up quite a bit. Now, I am introducing a bit of noise because of the way I shot, but it's all salvageable. This is without me adding in any noise reduction. And you guys have already seen this shot, right? I've already edited this as part of the YouTube video. And now we're just playing with it directly from the raw file. And actually, let's go to the final. Let me go to this guy. Let's just copy all this over. It should look the same, right? So 6K 60. Damn it, where was I? Dun, 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 dun. Okay. And it's actually in this section I was here. Okay. So this is basically how I color graded it for the version that ended up being on YouTube. And again, you can see, I think one of the coolest things is showing how shaky the footage was, and yet it was all super usable, right? I ended up using most of this shot. And this is all handheld. So I was just holding the camera with a 35mm f1.2, walking backwards at the same pace as the freaking chimp. And, you know, nobody tells you this, but those chimps are fast walkers, okay? These are like New York City style chimps. They do not stop for anyone. So if I didn't keep with their pace, it would just bulldoze over me. So here I am trying my best to walk fast, trying not to trip. That was literally, I did trip over that roots. And then trying to maintain the framing, trying to be as stable as possible, but all this while just walking backwards. Yeah, and you'll see a few jumps because I think I carried over some of the stabilizations. Let's see. Can I turn it off? Let's see. Yeah, so let's see the real... Okay, let's watch that again. So yeah, this is what it looked like when I was filming in the moment. So yeah, very, very hectic, very chaotic. But this is also like how I normally film. Like this is how I do it. I can count the number of times I've ever used the gimbal, and it's on one hand, right? So especially when it comes to traveling, I just don't like using gimbals because of how much space it takes up, how heavy it is, how much time it takes to set it up, and I'm definitely no expert at that. I have some colleagues who they travel with the gimbal. I've done a few trips, and then boom, they're like, you know, maybe you got a check-in bag, you got your carry-ons, and so yeah, you just have to plan accordingly. And when you got a gimbal in there, it's just a lot to deal with. Same reason why I just don't like necessarily having like the big ass shotgun mics and the external monitors. You just want to be able to have a camera, a lens, and you're good to go. And so I believe that's what market this camera is for, is showing people that you can just do exactly that. You don't need to build up this fancy transformer style rig that has all the other accessories you need. You don't need it. You don't need an external monitor because, one, you've got a 4-inch display built into the camera. You don't need a crazy shotgun mic because you got this 32-bit float built into the camera. And they also are, you know, they also released a shotgun microphone, which is very, very compact, much more compact than the usual. Like I have those Rode NTG shotgun mics or whatever. And it's also now finally a digital shoe, so you don't need the cables with it. What else? So you don't need the external monitor, you don't need the massive microphones hooked up, and you don't need a gimbal because generally speaking, it's got pretty good stabilization. I believe it's like 7.5 stops of in-body image stabilization, which I believe is better than like the Sony FX3s or the other film like cinema cameras. And it's dual, like it works really well. And to me, anyways, the fact that I got to do a field test, I got to literally try in the most ridiculous of circumstances, like walking backwards with the camera, tripping, and walking fast, right, to catch up with these chimps. And yet I ended up using 90%, right? Like 90% of it was usable for whatever I want to use it for. You know, especially once I slow it down, once I apply the DaVinci stabilization, and it didn't crop by much. It literally did a minimal crop. And, you know, so like to me, again, no gimbal, no external monitor, no need for a massive shotgun mic or anything like that. It very much is selling itself as like everything's in one piece here, and go out there and shoot, make some cinematic captures, and then hopefully now that you've moved over to Nikon, then they're going to be like, ooh, next year we're launching a $5,000, you know, red Nikon collaborated, whatever, infused technology camera. And I will be like, sign me up. Low Base, he said 32-bit float was my other stripper name in college. Nice. The 32-bit float. Okay. I would have expected more like a 69-bit float, but, you know, we can't all get there. Buy two so you have a spare. That's actually not a bad idea. That's a funny thing. Like initially, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like a joke to say that, but it's almost like if you were a film crew, like, or if you had like a film company, or like you do like a, I don't know, let's say you're a wedding photographer, but you need like multiple cameras, or I don't know what industry, but let's say if you're a small team and you're thinking about like, what do I invest in for the team? It's like, well, yeah, so I can get a Sony FX3 or one of these other guys, but then the cost is pretty hefty. Or I could technically purchase two of these cameras and trust in the fact that it is pumping out really cinematic footages, that the color, the red codec that's in it is like good color science, and that it's easy to work with. And as far as I can tell, I mean, again, I need to double check later, or maybe I'll confirm with the team or whatever, but it was as simple as I had the raw file and I just did the conversion, and it's all here, unless I'm doing something wrong. And again, it is a beta file, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. But it was as simple as me literally putting in the raw file, doing the conversion, and we're working with it straight on. Now, am I working with it the right way? Good question. But it can fool most people, right? So yeah, you can buy two for the price of two. But yeah, for the price of one Sony FX3. So every time you see a shake in these moments, it's like, keep in mind, this shot was exactly the one I ended up using as the hero shot of my documentary. So clearly I was able to rescue and keep it as stable as possible, even when you would feel like it shouldn't be the case. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, I'm just getting lost looking at these footages. Okay. Before we get too deep into this, let me just give a thought about what are the things I need to really focus on right now. Right now, I need to focus on the product review. So, where did I have all this information? And then let me do my daily check to see if Lens Distortion has released more music. Come on, Lens Distortion, sponsor me. Actually, let's quickly look at Lens Distortion. What is this? So they worked with DJI, SpaceX, Red Bull. I don't know what that is. Netflix, Leica, Lamborghini, Toyota, HBO. Wait, am I supposed to know what this logo is? The two R's? No, it's a P. It's a RR. What is a company that has a logo with two overlapping R's? Wait, was that a T? No. This one. What is this? What the hell? Alright, you know what? I'm getting sucked into a thing that doesn't matter. Rolls Royce. Hello, Jeremy Bork. Thank you very much for responding with the answer there. I don't know the first thing about cars. I don't know much anything, okay? You'll realize that quickly. Thank you very much, though. Rolls Royce. Hells yeah. Okay. So anyways, yeah, Lens Distortions works with a lot of reputable companies. I'm obviously a very, very big fan of their products. And now I'm waiting with bated breath for their new album to release. Because basically it's a sound library. They also have LUTs and a few other things, sound effects. But yeah, all of their music is super, super cinematic. And unfortunately, they don't have affiliate links. So yeah, what the hell, man? I'm just doing free advertising for them. But anyways, they got a new album coming out, and they got a shit ton of songs in here. So I am very excited to see how they sound. But okay, it's not out yet. It's fine. What's up, Ni Hao from from Kevin? Nice. So it looks like the chatbot will actually translate that. Wait, what happens if I type in Annyeong? Annyeong. Will it translate? Okay, it did not. So it's a bit selective. What the hell, man? But yes, thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy, I don't know if I recognize your name. So if this is your first time in the stream, welcome. Thank you for being here. And, well, thank you for also being helpful with the answer to something I didn't know. Jeremy, you said that Nikon ZR is looking really good to pick up as a B cam. I will be getting two, likely, at least until the next Komodo X or Raptor X comes out with the Nikon tech paired up with Red. Well, Jeremy, it sounds like you know what you're talking about. So thank you for being here, because I definitely, as much as I would like to be considered as knowledgeable, I am an aspiring filmmaker, and this is the first time I ever used a cinema quality camera. So I was very excited. I'm very fortunate that I got hands on the camera. But yeah, sounds like you know what you're talking about. And so I don't know how much I can share that will be helpful to you, but for what it's worth, I really, really enjoyed shooting with this camera. And I do think at least from some of the other reviews I was watching of people talking about the camera, one of the things that stood out is the fact that this thing is punching way above its weight, especially with the value, with the price tag. The fact that this thing is being priced at $2,200, it seems like that's almost as mind-blowing as any of the features that it's got, right? And so yeah, to be priced at such a low $2,200, and also I believe they have developed the thinnest flange. Not that I know the words that I'm saying right now, but I believe they've designed the adapter to work really well with the Sony lenses. So clearly they're on a mission to try to convert all of the Sony users over to Nikon, is my assumption here. So I think they're doing a good job, at the very least, with the buzz and also with the quality of the camera. Like I said, I am here to just share. I don't think there's other if there's one thing unique about this, Jeremy, and that is Korean for hello, yes, it is. But we have this new chatbot. Shout out to Low Base Guy. But we have this chatbot that's part of this web creative community that apparently does translations as well. So, if we have any viewers that are from anywhere in the world, apparently it does live translation. It does a pretty good job of it too. But it didn't pick up my Annyeong. What the hell, man? It's your first time here? Well, welcome. This is my 52nd. This is my 53rd time of being a live streamer. So we started doing live streams 2 months ago, and it's been really fun. I'm streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick right now. And so it's been a really, really fun journey. Usually I'm streaming about 7 to 8 hours every day. And during those streams, I tend to work on my projects. So you'll see all of the behind the scenes. You'll see as I'm working on a video that I'm going to release on YouTube, we'll walk through everything from the color correction, the grading, the narrative, storytelling. All of it is out there as part of my streams. And we've been having a lot of fun doing it on the streams real time. So hopefully you'll continue sticking through to the other streams as we... it's fun. We've been slowly building up a community as well of like fellow photographers, videographers, content creators, and all that. So if you'd like to join that community, !Discord, this should pop up a link to our Discord. So we've also been building this out where we do have a number of people in the community who are filmmakers. We had some that were like script writers, photographers. We have some crazy talented and really educated people in the community. So anytime I have questions or I'm doing things wrong, they are quick to let me know how dumb I am, and I love it that way. So totally. So Jeremy said that Z mount is very flexible, and I am a Sony shooter. Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, we have no hate for any of the brands. We were saying, I was just chatting with Low Bass Guy earlier. I want to see, and he said he can help me with this. I want to create something where I can collect information from all of you guys who are in the stream, who are like photographers or, you know, camera people. And I would love to actually get a sense. It's almost like doing a census, right? But I want to know, like, in my community, how many of you guys are Team Canon, Team Sony, Team Nikon, Team Leica, dare I say Olympus, or I don't know what else, Panasonic, whatever it is. But it'd be kind of cool if we did a nice little survey, and then somehow that becomes like a badge, or that becomes something I can show visibly on the streams. So it shows almost like a running tally, right? And we can see like, oh, you know, what's the makeup of the teams. And hopefully Team Nikon will be winning, obviously, because I'm affiliated with them. Affiliated in the sense of like I work with them quite a bit. And I love Nikon, so, you know. But anyways, you said, Jeremy says, I ran into you streaming this project the other day. I am totally caught by the clarity of color with this camera. I think that's maybe what you're saying. Yes, the color is amazing. I think I normally shoot with NRAW, and I'm a big fan, by the way, of the NRAW quality. I think some people will say, like, at a technical level, maybe in the shadows, maybe it struggles a bit more than some of the others. But everything, if you look at my YouTube channel, all the YouTube videos that I've made to date, excluding obviously this documentary, it's all shot in NRAW, 99% of it. And I'm a big fan of the quality. I am a huge fan of this red, right? It's not only because of the colors. I love the colors so far from everything I'm filming. And we were filming in, you know, everything from these kind of like dense jungle environments where, you know, the colors on the greens are fantastic. But then also, like, you know, shooting in, like, you know, so yeah, see like the greens here, shooting in the, you know, outdoors and the colors of the sunsets or low light situations or like golden hours. It's all like, it feels very soft in the colors. It's not, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm so new to this that I'm probably using words that I shouldn't. But generally speaking, I've been really, really happy, where it definitely feels like something where I don't necessarily feel like I need to change much. After I do the color correction, I don't know if I necessarily need to do a lot of crazy grading, because it kind of looks good off the bat. And then so if I do any crazy color grading, that's more just a stylistic choice more than like it's to mask something looking terrible, right? So, but anyways, yeah, big fan so far of everything here. And yeah, we're all learning together as we speak, because you're watching me figure out how to use this red, how to edit in this red format. By the way, this is the first time I'm using this HDR color wheel to lift the blacks. Someone in the chat yesterday who is a colorist was explaining this concept to me about the other color wheels, or the other, like the log wheels as well, that I can use to lift the blacks. And like I said, I was just saying earlier, I really like the built-in stabilization. I thought I did a really adequate job. That's not the best praise to say adequate, but like, I feel like it did really good job. And it seems like maybe these kind of like built-in stabilization might not really be a thing on a lot of these cinema cameras. I could be wrong, but at least it seems like the 7.5 stops of stabilization that's in this camera is better than the others. And I wonder if it's because most people use gimbals and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, for me, as a gimbal-less person when I shoot, I love this. Jeremy said, my first digital camera was a D200 after mainly using film with my Canon AE1. Nikon is my favorite. I went with FS5 Sony's when they were released. I'm happy that Nikon finally is embracing video. Yes. It sounds like you were really experienced then, because you've had, you've actually had experience with all the brands, the major brands. My first camera was a Sony A6000. I loved it for what it's worth. And I used it for like the first year or so when I was learning photography. And then I switched over to a D810, and then a D850, and then eventually switched over to the Z lenses. So the Z6, then the Z9, and now I have the Z6 III. But yeah, this is my first time, and I've been doing video stuff only 2 years now. I was doing like short form video content, like for Instagram Reels and stuff like that, maybe 2.5 to 3 years ago. And then when it comes to like actually learning how to do more like this kind of video editing stuff, and like when I picked up DaVinci Resolve, that I think was about 2 years ago. And then that's all about a year and a half ago is when I started a YouTube channel, and I started committing to doing long form content. Yeah. And this past year and a half, I've been traveling majority of the past 2 years, like literally back-to-back travels. We have over 100 terabytes worth of footages from the past year of traveling. We went to, I think, 10 to 12 different countries, basically traveling 2 weeks to the full month every month, and which I enjoyed. I had the stamina for it, but it meant I didn't have time to be at home and actually create content from the footages. So about 2 to 3 months ago is when I sat back home and I committed to not traveling for the rest of the year. And then I've been using that time to catch up and like trying to post as much as I can on YouTube. And then we picked up live streaming about a couple months ago, and now we're trying to do both at once. So I do live streams. During the live streams, you're watching me edit these videos that I will eventually publish to YouTube. And it's been really amazing because, like I said, meeting people like yourself, Jeremy, and others who are like actually experienced in this industry, and I've been learning a lot. It's made my videos that I publish much better as well. So selfishly, this has been a fun journey because of how much I'm learning from you guys. Jeremy, you said my first digital camera. Oh yeah, sorry, I read that already. And several A7S Mark IIIs, which are all going up for sale as soon as I can get these ZRs. Yo, I like these comments. You know what? I need to like screenshot some of these messages so I can send it to the Nikon team and be like, yo, look at this. We got these people in there. You know what, Jeremy? If you want to even put in your next line, I am a staunch Sony and Canon lover. I hate Nikon. But after watching your video, Mr. Yobel Prize, you have now convinced me that I need to sell all of my other gear and purchase as many Nikon ZR cameras as possible. Thank you very much, Yobel, Mr. Yobel Prize. If you can put a message like that or something, and then I'll delete this video from existence, but I'll get a little quick screen grab of what you said and I'll send it over to them. But the A7S Mark IIIs, I'm not very familiar with all of the naming conventions for all these cameras are so annoying to me. Like why is there not a simpler way to like name your cameras? Like why is it named an A7S? What do these letters all stand for? You said the Canon AE-1, and obviously Nikon's also, in, everyone's guilty of this, right? But it bothers me because like, how do you keep track of all these things? But yeah, anyways, so I've been a really big fan of the footages, and it's been one of those where even the fact that I was doing things wrong, I was clearly filming. I say wrong is too strong or harsh of a word. I could have filmed it better is what I should say. Like in these moments when I was shooting the scene, I should have been checking the waveform here, and I should have recognized that either I need to bump this up to the higher ISO. So on this camera, it is 6400 ISO. Or I just needed to look at the waveform and make sure I was shooting such that this was more in the middle or upper part. But I just, that's how little I know about filmmaking. I was aware of this, so don't get me wrong. I'd watched so many videos prior to the shoot, and everything was pretty obvious that like you need to have the waveform more like overexposed as opposed to under. I'm familiar with that concept with photography, but the moment I was actually shooting, I would get so nervous when I would see like through the view assist, the shot will look pretty good. Like I like the colors here, but then I'm looking at the waveform and it's like, oh wait, in order for me to get the waveform in the middle, that means like what I see in the view assist is like super, super bright and overexposed. And I got so nervous in the moment thinking that that might mean somehow that the actual final footage will be like completely blown out and I won't be able to rescue anything. Even though, anyways, I just didn't trust the camera or the advice enough. And so this is kind of like my panic mode where I decided, you know what? if the view assist is showing the shot looks pretty good, and this is kind of what I would imagine I would end up wanting the final product to look like, then we'll just shoot it at that, even if it's really, really dark, and then hope that we can just keep it as is as much as possible. So yeah, bad logic, but to be fair, this camera is designed. So if anything, it's a good it's a good sales pitch for this camera as well. Because even with the amount of user error and like the fact that I'm abusing the shit out of this camera and not using it the right way, it still gives me a massive handicap to allowing me to end up with some footage that's super, super cinematic. So yeah, the colors were great. But yeah, I keep saying this, but as much as I like the quality of the colors and everything else that goes with it, I think the 32-bit float is such a huge win for someone like me. Like, I wonder, like, if I had an honest breakdown of like what features are the best and for what reasons, like if I had to prioritize it. Obviously, the color, the look and feel is like has to be at the top, right? To a certain extent, because you know you could shoot in, yeah, like it looks cinematic. So as long as the shots look cinematic, that's great. So having that kind of red codec, the raw files with the red color science is amazing, right? But having like a 32-bit float audio is a super, super big win for the type of travel and the shoots that I do. Because oftentimes I'm like, you know, you're going for hikes, you're outdoors, you're on a safari, and noise levels change significantly. And like this was a prime example, right? Because the chimps would be quiet one moment, you catch a nice, beautiful ambient sound of the birds chirping, and the next they're screeching as close to the camera as you can imagine. And not having to worry ever about having to adjust your mic levels or anything. It's like, oof, so good. Okay, this might be a good test. Let's see. So this looks like, because I think I was testing a few different settings here. But looking at this one, the question is, the way I shot this, is this a good test to the dynamic range of this camera? So clearly I was shooting a silhouette shot directly against the sun. Yeah. So one, we still maintain the nice colors of the blue, like the actual lake here, which is nice. And we're noticing that the sky is not overexposed. Even like right up until the, you know, even the sun itself doesn't like necessarily look like pure white. At least from my screen right now, it looks like there's actual color to every aspect of this, maybe at the very, very center of that sun. I wish I knew how to like test that. Yeah, someone smarter than me knows how to do this, but yeah, the colors look nice. Let's go ahead and try doing that lift to the blacks. But in reality, I probably would want the silhouette to stay this dark, but let's just double check what we're working with. Yeah. You know, one thing I'm kind of annoyed by, and it's a testament to like why this feature was so cool. The fact that they don't have this feature annoys me. They introduced it in the Z9, which is the freaking the sensor shield. So whenever you turn your camera off, it'll it'll put a little sensor shield to block your sensor. So whenever you're switching lenses, it helps to protect the sensor from like dust or whatever else. And I thought that was one of the coolest features, right? But then, yeah, it's on the Z8, but on the Z6 III they didn't have it, and on this one they don't have it, which is so annoying to me. Because even here you can see there's a little bit of a dust spot. It's not the worst thing, and you know I just have to be careful. But you can see there's a little bit of like that little dust spot here. I don't know. I'm assuming that might have been on the sensor at one point, or yeah. But just to have that extra sensor shield protection is so nice, and it's like why? I mean, it's yeah. I mean, obviously the reason must be just the internal mechanics and like the amount of real estate it takes up to like implement something like that. But I just feel like that should be an industry standard going forward. In the same way, I think the 32-bit float should and will be an industry standard. The 4-inch monitor should be an industry standard, and the sensor shield should be an industry standard. So I do feel like this camera, in some ways, will end up becoming a game changer because of the fact that Sony, Canon, they're gonna see the fact that Nikon is releasing something at such a low price that has these features that they don't have. So of course they're gonna have to implement it, right? And I'm assuming it's not unachievable for them to do it. At the price point, maybe yes, but still. Yeah, so that in all those ways, I think this camera is a game changer. Yeah, I like the colors. Again, shooting directly against the sun. I don't think I could have gotten anywhere close to this quality if I was shooting with my Z9 or the Z6 III. And again, it's not to knock on them necessarily. I really love doing film. I mean, the whole reason I started getting more into filmmaking was because of the NRAW quality, shooting it with the Z9, the Z6 III, Z8s. But that dynamic range it is impressive on this camera, and it's like noticeably so. Welcome back, BC. Successful lecture. Hells yeah. All right. Congrats. Now, you say successful. How many people gave you a standing ovation? That's a real mark for success. So let me know. Be honest with us. Jeremy says, with only an electronic shutter, the ZR will not have it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, there is no mechanical. The Z6 could have it, but they did not program the feature in. The camera needs to have a manual shutter to do it. Interesting. Well, thank you for educating us there. I didn't think about that. Okay. BC says 0. Oof. It was only a class of like 8 students. Well, you know what? There's a world where all 8 students would have stood up to give you that standing ovation. What the hell, man? What were you doing? Did you let them know that you are the biggest PP of the month, really, over on the Yobel Prize stream? You didn't bring that up? That's on you, mate. You would have had all of them cheering you on, asking for autographs. They would have been slow motion clapping you as if it was like a something from the films. You said I did not. I wanted to be invited back. Touche. Fair enough. Low base is gambling it all? Yo. Okay, you know what? Should I gamble it all as well? Gamble all, because I don't even know how many points I have. I'm going to lose. Oh, wait, no. I won, but I only had 79 freaking points. Whatever. Okay, anyways. So, Jeremy, thank you very much for educating me. I didn't think about that. Either way, I wish they had somehow included that sensor shield. It is such a cool feature. But yeah. But again, we're looking at this shot and it's like, yeah, clearly I was shooting directly against the sun. There were a few shots where I was overexposed, clearly so, but I found it much more difficult for me to achieve that, right? It almost felt like I really had to push myself to try to get a shot that was overexposed. The camera just does so much to like handhold you, essentially, to making sure you end up still with a really nice shot. So this one, for instance, looks very overexposed, but let's see. Let's see if it... Based on the waveform, it looks like everything should be fine. Kind of. Okay, so here's where my concern comes in. So, okay, this might be a really good example of that. Okay, so this is the example I was mentioning, where based on what the waveform tells me, and what every expert says, this is kind of how I should have been shooting this shot, roughly speaking, right? It should have been like, ignore the view assist telling you that this is super overexposed, or it doesn't look like the final product. You should shoot it this way because based on the waveform, it looks like everything is somewhat all over the place, but still kind of like neutral-isk, or nothing is overexposed, nothing is too low. However, when I actually drop the curves in this situation and bring it more to like what I would like, so then this is what I guess the logic would be, like, you know, relax, don't freak out, shoot it at that kind of overexposed look, and then when you drop the curves or, you know, drop the highlights or whatever, you'll end up with the nice shot. And they're not wrong, like most of this looks good, but then I'm looking here and there's a number of areas where it looks, even if the waveform is telling me it's been dropped, it like looks like it's full pure white. So this is where I'm getting a little bit confused here. Let's see, can I see from here? Here, let's do it normal again. Okay, yeah, so for instance, here, oh, you know what it is? It could just be that my monitor is not... Okay, hold on. I think I'm answering my own question here. Because based on the histogram and the waveform, the most overexposed looking area, like this part right here, it's showing me it's still not hovering all the way to the maximum of the histogram. So right now it's like hovering around, you know, whatever, 3730, yeah, something like 3700 on that histogram. So somewhere here. Same thing in the waveform. This part right here, it's like it is clearly at the very top of the waveform, but it's not all the way at the top. So like my understanding is, okay, on paper this is fine, but then in practice when I'm editing with it, it's staying pure white. And then now my question is that just because my display and my whatever, my yeah, so between my monitor and the PC that I'm using or whatever, is it just not able to actually detect? Like if I could see the 12 bits, if I could see whatever, if I adjust something about what I have as the settings, I would actually be able to see that this is not overexposed? I have no idea. Jeremy, you said with the small amount of time that you have had the ZR, what do you feel about exposure? Is it similar to Sony where you have to overexpose log footage? I imagine the R3D would just to watch for clipping. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the conversation we're having right now, which is and it could just be the fact that I was doing a lot of shooting inside of a forest or in like very dark locations. So a lot of my shots were fairly underexposed, and to get it so where the waveform is in the middle or like overexposed, it required me to have to bump up to like a higher ISO, like a 6400 or something, and I didn't do that too often. So the way I ended up shooting, a lot of it was underexposed. And then when I would try to overexpose to match like the right timelines, this is what I was saying, like I wish I had more time with the ZR. I only had this for about 3 days. So just enough time to like start to get comfortable with the camera, but not enough time, especially because I didn't have access to like actually accessing the files. So it's like, imagine when the day ends and we've like finished shooting, I didn't have access, and I also spilled ginger ale all over my laptop, so it was like rendered unusable. But I wasn't able to actually look at the raw files and see what the colors look like. So I just had to kind of trust that I'm shooting it properly for the full duration of the shoot. And then only when I got home, only when I was able to finally access the files, where I was able to actually see, like, yeah, what's the quality? Did I mess up or is it all good? So I didn't have enough time to really understand all this. But now that I'm looking at the files, I will say like, oh yeah, I think, one, shooting the way I did, shooting it fairly underexposed, is totally fine. So for what it's worth, like you see this, let's just look at this example. So if you look at the waveform here, it's clearly showing very, very dark shot without me doing anything besides the color space transform. But if I wanted to, and this is also because I kind of wanted it dark, to be fair. But yeah, so like here, let's see, looking at the waveform again, a lot of it is like really, really hugging. It's towing the line at the very, very dark end of it. But then when you look at the shots, I'm a big fan. I kind of like it right here, right? So even though the waveform is kind of screaming at me like danger, danger in terms of the blacks, To me, I actually can. I don't know. At least on my screen, I can see the gradients. I can actually see that this is not pure black. So I'm able to actually determine like the shades of black inside of this very dark area. So I kind of like shooting it in this underexposed mode. But yeah, I guess the real experienced people would tell me you should have been overexposing it. And yeah, so to me, the only question I was raising, Jeremy, is that in this one example of the shot, it does look like it's way too overexposed right here. Like, I don't know. It seems like it's not rescuable. And I'm trying to figure out, is there a way I can test that? Like, if I drop the gain, is there a different way to do this? Yeah, to me, it just looks like this area is pure white. But then when I look at the waveform, it's not telling me the same story. Mindful Grinds. I like the name. Thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. Hells yeah. Mindful Grinds. We do the mindless grind for what it's worth. I think I just grind all the time without ever thinking if I should or not. It's just the only mode we know here. But thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. I think that means we're closing in on 100. We're almost there, guys. 88 followers. Also, you know what? I just realized. Ooh, thank you very much. What just happened here? Hold on one second. Let me just double check. Ivy, yo, Ivy XP. Thank you very much for subscribing. Hells yeah. Thank you for giving your hard-earned money, those hard-earned dollars, over to me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Tier 1. Hells yeah. You know what this means, Ivy? That means you have access to our really special emotes. All the emotes that you'll see on the Twitch side, Kick, and YouTube. But yeah, you'll see those emotes. Those were emotes that are based off of photos that I've taken of wildlife. And then we had some fun on stream learning how to create them into emotes and adding some funky stuff to it. But all the actual animal shots, they are actual shots that I took and edited, and then we just found some of the ones that had the coolest facial expressions and then tried to turn them into emotes. We have a lot more to still make. But yes, now you can use those awesome emotes. And then we also have our two cats. So we got Nala and Kimbap over here. We do have some emotes with them as well. Thank you very much for the subscription, though. That's super awesome of you. Yes. This is Jeremy watching on YouTube. Hells yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, I like the name as well. Well, thank you very much, Mindful Grinds, aka Jeremy. I didn't know you are a... Do you stream on Twitch? Let me make sure to follow you just in case. In case you are. And then let me double check. I should be following you, Ivy, but just in case, let me make sure I am. Oh, shoot. Wait, I'm not following you? Okay. I apologize. It looks like I wasn't following you before on Twitch. That is inexcusable. But I am now making sure to follow you, so we got you on there. And your next stream, Ivy, is Wednesday. Oh, tomorrow. Okay, well, listen. Because you have graced me with your dollars, I will make sure when you are streaming, well, depending on the time, obviously, but I'm going to be on the lookout to see if I can check out your stream and at the very least lurk. If you're streaming at like 3 a.m. my time, I'll try to set an alarm and I'll turn on that stream and then I'm going to fall asleep, okay? But we'll be lurking. Thank you, guys. Okay, anyways. Yes, you can combine my lion roaring with low bass's awesome wings if you are subscribed to him. So, okay, so I don't know if there's a good answer for this, guys. I am just too new to this, really. But we're testing in real time, right? So this is an example similar to your question, Jeremy, where let's assume here, I believe this is an example of filming this the way that most people say you should, where you need to be somewhat overexposing and keeping an eye at the waveform. And according to this waveform here, because I don't think there's anything else I've done. So this is literally just with the conversion of the color space. So with just that, this is the shot I ended up getting where I never crossed the line on the waveform above like something like, I don't know, 3700 or so on whatever this scale is here. And if anything, you're seeing at the very bottom end, it looks like there's some blues that are saying that it's pitch black, or it's basically hugging or towing the 0 line here. But like I said, where I get confused is the fact that when I do drop the curves down, when I drop the light down, there seems to be some areas that were actually pure white and it's unrecoverable. And I can't make sense out of it because everything the waveform is telling me is that you actually shot this perfectly. There's nothing that's overexposed. It's you're going crazy. I'm being gaslit by the freaking waveform here. It's telling me everything's fine. And I'm like, yo, it's not fine. Look at this. This is like, there's something going on here where it clearly is like pure white. So anyways, unfortunately, I just don't know enough. But this is, I guess, my fear. This was my fear usually why I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to actually shoot everything as overexposed. But also, now to be fair to Nikon and also knowing that it's a lot of user error related stuff, I rarely ran into an issue where things were running into that problem, where I should be able to 99% of the time shoot it as people tell you how to do it and everything looks good. So like even here, right? So let's see, let's double check. So here's an example where we're shooting and we're trying to have the waveform somewhat in the middle at the very least. And throughout this shot here, let's see, nothing looks too crazy. I'm just looking at the waveform. Yeah, so even here, when he's splashing all the water, nothing clips. Everything seems like it's in the right range, which is good to know. So then, as I play with this file, it looks like I don't have to worry whatsoever that these are like pure white. So even with that nice little splash there, it seems okay. And then it means I can get that nice shot. Get the nice shot of the chimp here without worrying about, you know, the colors necessarily. So, but what do I know? I don't know, right? We're so new to this. But I do know, like, obviously the quality ended up being super fantastic. But I'm just trying to look, let's just try to see based on all the waveforms, did I ever do something wrong? So like here it's saying technically I did it the right way and I can just drop the curves a bit. I'm gonna do like that typical S-curve style. Oof, look how creepy that is. So here maybe I would probably end up dropping this a bit more. So like I said, there's probably someone watching this going like, yo, you're doing this. What are you doing? What are you doing that to the curves? Like you're dropping it below, you know, these little mountains here. But I don't know. Until someone tells me why, I kind of don't mind if I end up... It's more forgivable, in my opinion, to have like pure black elements where it's like completely crushed shadows or whatever, as opposed to having completely like clipped highlights or like the pure white areas. But it could just be my style of editing or the types of shots that I'm doing, where I oftentimes like the darker look and feel. So if I ended up like even making this very, very dark, I actually wouldn't mind necessarily. God, and you know what? I don't know enough about the red color science, but I wonder, like, do they call themselves red because of how good the reds look in their color science? Because I will say, like, small sample size, right? Just a few days of shooting with it. But every time I was shooting something that was in the warmer tones, and especially with the eyes of the chimps, I was like, yo, the colors on the eyes look so amazing. Like, I love the red colors. So it could just be coincidence, right? I have no idea why it's called red. But for what it's worth, all these like kind of warmer colors and the red colors just really pops. Yeah, in my opinion. So yeah. Ivy, you said, I think if it looks good, then it looks good. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it. Thank you for saying that. I need to reassure myself at times that well, I mean, I'm doing this now. I'm probably being a little bit too extreme with like trying to break this down, but it's also because I'm trying to learn. I would like to learn how to be as technical as possible as a foundational level. And then as I feel comfortable knowing all the foundational techniques and the fundamentals, then I feel like, okay, off of that foundation, do your thing, be creative, break the rules, whatever. But like, as I want to be able to be in a position where I'm breaking the rules knowingly, as opposed to doing things without knowing how wrong I am. You know what I mean? It would be good to know that my intuition is fine. Like, I'm happy with being in a world where, like, okay, I stumbled upon a beautiful cinematic shot without realizing I was breaking all the rules, and I just got lucky with it, let's just say. And if someone were to then say the best case scenario about describing me was that his intuition was good, that he got nice colors, but he had no idea what the hell he was doing, I'll accept that. I would love to then be able to say, oh, he knew that he was breaking those rules. And now that was a creative decision by him, not like just ignorance or being naive. But yeah. Raiden, what's up, Raiden? Chimps. By the way, Yobel's favorite animal is a moose. Wait, who said what? Where? It was an elk that almost killed me. That was the story from yesterday. Oh shoot, Raiden. Is your real, are you Piyush? Am I getting your, I'm getting all the names mixed up. Listen, I was gone for 2 weeks, okay? But thank you very much, Raiden, for being here. Jeremy, Raiden says, hell no. Oh shit, my bad. Jeremy says, oh no, Kevin, you said, I'd rather be lucky than good. Really? Oh no, sorry. I'm not saying lucky. I don't mind being lucky, but I'm saying like, the comparison is less about, sorry, let me think about this. I'm saying there are people who are technically sound, and then there are people who have a good eye. I definitely would prefer having a good eye, right? Or a good ear, whatever. Like, I would like to have an inherent level of vision, like, you know, like I just want to have a good eye for things, for sure. And there are people who are probably very, very technically sound, but then they're not creative, let's say, or they're technically sound, but then don't know how to apply that, practically speaking, to like an actual project. It's like, I compare myself, there's a time before COVID where I picked up Cuban salsa dancing, okay? And I was like, man, I was going a little bit nuts about it, where as I'm learning every move that they teach in the salsa class, I would have a spreadsheet where I'm like taking a screenshot, being like, okay, this is the name of the move, here's what the move is, and it's meant for when you're doing this kind of position for this. And in class, I was pretty good. Anytime the teacher, the instructor was saying, okay, do this move and then this move, as long as my memory was good enough, I would be able to do that move and then that move, and I'd be pretty good. It would look good, in my opinion. I could be wrong. But then, when we would go to an actual freaking bar where there's live music, boom, you're out there, do your thing, I would freeze, and I would, without people telling me what to do, like the instructions, do this, and this. When the music hits, I was like a deer caught in headlights. And I think that's where I'm trying to say, is like technically in my beginner level classes, I was technically sound because I was learning the techniques, and then when they would say it, I would do it, and I'd hopefully do it properly, and I was trying to do it the right way. But then when the music hits and it's up to you to put all the techniques together, I just didn't know how to do it. And so I feel like there are people like that where they have all the technique down, of like they understand the science behind it, they understand how to shoot, the right settings you're supposed to have with the camera. But then if they were here in front of this chimp, they would freeze. They wouldn't know how to take the shot in the moment. They wouldn't know how to hold the camera to be stable, or they just like, there'd just be things where they didn't know how to frame it in the moments or whatever, right? So yeah, long-winded way of saying I'd rather have an eye for things than be technically sound, but why? That shouldn't be the binary. I want to be good at both. So I would like to believe I have a good eye for things, or have a creative bone somewhere, but then I need to make sure I don't heavily rely on that. I need to be more technically sound. So I appreciate all of the people in these chats who are actually very, very technically sound, who are there to correct me or just to give advice. Okay, so we'll lift that. Let me just read some of the chat. Jeremy said Red Camera was named that by the guy who started the company and bought the domain name in 98. Red officially started in 2005 though. Huh. So then why was it called Red? I would like to believe until you correct me. I'm like, oh, you know why it's called red? It's because of how beautiful the red colors are. And if anything, they are known for how amazing the red colors and the shades of red are. Prove me wrong. Kevin, you said chops. I definitely consider myself a unicorn. Technical plus creative combo punch. Yeah, that's always, yeah, for sure. Like, to have both is necessary to be in this space. I just view myself necessarily not having that technical chops. The creative chops, I have like sparks. I have moments of flashes of like creativity, but generally speaking, I'm just copying from other people and just applying it to my footage. Ivy, you said, I just assumed it was because the color red is used when recording. Oh shit, actually, that makes a lot more sense because you have that red color. Yeah, okay, fine. Either way, I don't care. As if I'm not saying what I said is anywhere close to being true. My only point was I really like the colors with the red color signs. Even this shot right here, right? We're looking at a shot where it's a pretty decent dynamic range, or an example of it, right? Where we got super, super bright areas because we're shooting in broad daylight. This was before golden hour. This is probably around like 4 to 5 p.m., I think, something like that. But it was before like the lighting got super good. It was decent, but not the best. Yeah, and then you have like these really nice warm tones, and then you have these like areas of like very, very bright yellows and greens mixed with the reds. And like these really, really dark black areas. I don't know. I feel like this is a good example of what I'm saying, where it's like, man, the colors were fantastic. And those eyes really pop. And I wish the focus was sharper, faster, because like the way he was doing that pose there, it just looked like a gangster. Unfortunately, because I had few time, like I only had a few days with this camera, I had set it up in a way where the focus button had a very, very slow speed, because I was trying to make sure I didn't do too fast of focus, so then I get a nice, more cinematic, like kind of like a focus pull. But yeah, I don't know. There's a few things with more time and experience, I could have set up the camera a bit differently to make sure when I needed the faster focus, I could. And eventually I did get there where I would just program the lens buttons to do like a fast focus, but I just wasn't, muscle memory wasn't there. So, Kevin says, now, what if you have technical skills, creative chops, and business acumen? That, I guess that maybe that is the holy trinity. That's like the exposure triangle, right? But if that is the, yeah. If you have all three, then now you're really cooking. Jeremy, you said, for me, I can see the greens that definitely are similar to Nikon. The greens really stand out to me. Okay, interesting. I wish I had more experience. I don't have enough to really do good comparisons. But yeah, I do like the greens. Although I think I kind of prefer when the greens are a bit more like dark and slightly minty. I guess the best way to explain it from my shots here. What the hell? Why is this? I'm struggling here. Okay, I'm having a glitch. Okay, so if you look at my final product, this kind of green is probably what I like the most. Like a, it's a bit like cooler, mintier. Let me see. And a bit darker. I ended up having to, so this version looks a bit brighter because every time I export my footages in DaVinci, the final product, no matter what I do, nothing I do, like no advice I've heard so far or anything I've done will change the fact that when I export my final product, the final product ends up being like a few shades darker. Like just the exposure, something happens where the shadows are darker, the blacks are darker, whatever. So then before I export, I end up having to lift the shadows just a bit, knowing that it's going to get darker in the final. So this is slightly brighter than how I normally would like it to be. But the point is the colors are a bit more like on this side of things. I think I have a better example. Kind of like this. Let me see though. Actually, this is probably a good one to go through because we're looking at the shots right now. So here, I kind of made it a bit darker. So it's a bit richer, sure. And then slightly cooler, I guess, is maybe the way I went. I just don't, I don't know enough of the, of anything. The technical language or my reasonings. Yeah, kind of like this. Okay, yeah, I like these kind of colors. Let me see. I thought I had a better shot to use. Where's the shot where you see the chimp is walking? Yeah, like this. Okay, here we go. So a shot like this. This ends up being more like the colors that I really like. So I don't know how you would describe it. Maybe it's like I removed a lot of the highlights. It's a little bit pastel-y, maybe. Definitely darker. Yeah. So however you would describe this kind of coloring is kind of the greens that I tend to prefer. And if I compare that over on the photo side, so these were just kind of like the screen grabs I took. Yeah, it was like kind of this kind of colors of the greens that I like. So this is like, I think I exported this to be like a thumbnail eventually. Yeah, I think like this. Yeah. For me, yeah, Kevin, you said the exposure triangle type shit. Yep. Ivy, less yellow in it too, I think. Oh wait, really? Okay. You're saying the colors on this color science is less yellowy. Okay, I'll take a look at that in a second. Kevin says I'm cracking a brewski at 9:30 a.m. I had to look at my time real quick. It's 8:30 p.m. So I'm gonna have to come to a close in like maybe 30 minutes or so. Because I just contributed the maximum to my Roth IRA. I'm very jealous to hear that. Now that we're not in corporate anymore, I do miss the comfort, that sweet, sweet comfort of seeing that money come in on the regular, flowing into your bank account, spreading into every hobby you want to pick up, and you just spread it around as you feel. Oh, I do miss that. Now, yeah, now it's long gone. But yes, enjoy that Roth IRA. You're doing it the right way. Ivy says maybe there's some color space differences in the export. You're probably right, but then we were taking a look at that earlier, and I don't know. So for instance, if you look at all these files, this is not a good one. Let me go to the final. Okay, so all of these files, I basically do the conversion into DaVinci Wide Gamut, Intermediate, and then we do a final conversion here where we convert it to the output color space being Rec 709, and the output gamma is gamma 2.4. Then when you see the export settings, oh yeah, and just to double check, once this buffering ends, one second. Okay, so here, if you look at my color management, the color science is DaVinci YRGB, and I wonder maybe that's what I have to change. I have no idea. But then the timeline color space is DaVinci Y Gamut Intermediate, which is what we use, and then the output color space is Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. So I am using the same, at least it's matching, Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. And maybe it's like, is it that I shouldn't be using Gamma 2.4? Is it like, do I need to use like a 2.2 or just Rec 709C? I have no idea, but that's what I had read at one point. That's what I use. And then when I export, yeah, I don't do any changes there either. Yo, thank you very much. Oh, wait, is the dono...
Colors are looking great.
Thank you very much, Cam. And thank you for that sweet, sweet donation. Hells yeah. $9.99. We all know what that really means. That was really a $10 donation. It's like when we say, people who say you're shooting in 23.967 frame rates or whatever, you're shooting 24 frame rates. So thank you very much for that $10 donation. Colors are looking great. Thank you. And you had a message before that saying great work. Thank you very much. I always accept compliments. We're learning to be better at accepting compliments. And I will always accept dollars. So let's let's not kid ourselves. But thank you very much. I'm assuming you're talking about this latest project. And I am very proud of this project. It was all shot with the Nikon ZR. We are very new to filmmaking, so you are watching me right now struggle as I talk about all the things I'm doing wrong or why things couldn't have been better. So the documentary should have been a lot better if someone knew what they were doing. We put the documentary together in 5 days. For what it's worth, in my defense, but I'm very, very proud of it, and we're learning together how to make it better. But thank you very much for that super chat. That felt good. That felt really good. Yo, we got to keep building up our streams, and then people are just going to be super chatting us every second, okay? Anyways, thank you for also watching on the YouTube side. Ivy, you said Google says 2.4, so I'm assuming it's probably fine. I think I just watched some YouTube videos where they had recommended 2.4, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do what you say, you know, salute. BC got in. Hello, good sir. Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you guys know each other. Ivy says, but also they mentioned data level should be set to auto or video. Hold on. Let me think. Let's look at our timeline settings real quick first. So here, that could be actually, okay, I like what you're saying. Maybe that could be it. Because this timeline setting, I have it as use 444 SDI. And then I have the data level set to video, but maybe I should select full, which should retain sub black and super wide data. I don't know. So let's say I choose full, and then the video depth only goes to 10-bit. I think that's a limitation on my display. Okay. So if I choose the monitor, because then obviously the monitor is important because that's what I'm looking at. So maybe I'm getting, maybe I'm doing things based on the monitor display, but then obviously the output will be higher or whatever. So, okay, so what happens if I choose full? Okay, visibly nothing happened. But anyways, we're going to keep trying to see what the hell is what is going on and how to get this, because it is super annoying that every project that happens to me. Yo, coffee.
Just jumping in. Now that's a timeline, geez.
Yo, coffee. I was going to call you Ko-Fi, because apparently that's what I keep saying about the Ko-Fi thing that I have. Coffee Yebua donated, is that Canadian? $20? Either way, thank you very much for the donation and the super chat. Just jumping in, now that's a timeline, geez. Yes, this was a hefty timeline. It's only 5 minutes. It looks crazier than it... Actually, it was a bit crazy. Actually, let's quickly scale this out so we can look how crazy my organization skills are, or lack thereof. But yeah, thank you guys. Wow, what a day. You guys are giving me real money. That's a cool feeling. So starting with Low Base Guy, giving me that resub of the tier 1. Thank you very much. And then we had IV subscribing as well. So thank you guys. And now we get these awesome, awesome donations. Good job, BC, for gambling your PPs nicely. Daytor says, bye, Yobel. Well, thank you very much, Daytor, for being here all the way from Germany. So I appreciate it for spending your evening with me. Jeremy says, dang, you got a super chat from Cam. Yes, how cool is that? It feels good. That might be the very first... Oh, no. We did have a... we had some super chats from YouTube before, but to be fair, that was from one of my closest friends. So it doesn't really count, you know what I mean? It counts for sure. Don't tell him otherwise. He should, if anything, he should be donating more often. But to have someone donate out of the goodness of their hearts without knowing me, thank you guys. I do appreciate that. Jeremy, you said Cam is my favorite red promoter. That is awesome. Oh wait, is this like some famous people here? Or wait, hold on one second. Not that it makes a difference, but Cam Mackey. How do I can't just open it up, so I have to open up my YouTube, and then from YouTube, then now that I know you are an actual YouTuber, I'll make sure to give you a follow as well. That's the least I can do. We try to do the same thing with Twitch. Anytime someone follows me, I want to make sure to follow them back, because if you're taking the time to do that, I mean, come on, it's just a button for me, and then also that means I can hopefully raid you later on and stuff like that. Yo, Cam Mackey, this is like a legit YouTuber. My goodness. Why your photography sucks. Gear doesn't matter. I like the title. And I think I do agree with you on the title about gear doesn't matter necessarily. I think I rely too much on gear for what it's worth. Yo, this guy, Cam Mackey, you guys should all check him out because firstly, he donated, so there's no better reason than that. But also, just looking at your YouTube channel, looks pretty dope. You clearly have a style to you, man. You are rocking the cowboy hat and the long hair. Listen, hey, I am a fellow long hairer, if that's a term, okay? You just can't see it because I got the headphones on. I got it on a bun. And I did chop off maybe like an inch from the hair length. But, yo, you're making me think I can pull off a cowboy hat as well. But that's your thing, so I don't want to copy your style. Let me just catch up on the chat real quick. So, Jeremy, you're saying Cam is my favorite red promoter. That is awesome. Great to see Cam support smaller creators. You calling me small, bro? You call me small, Jeremy? But that is very true. We are smaller than small. So thank you very much for that support with the real dollars. Ni hao dim sum. Oh, wait. The chatbot can actually... It can translate ni hao, but it didn't know how to translate annyeong. So I'm a little bit annoyed by that. Dude, you have 2 serious YouTubers jumping in here. Great stuff. Oh, wait. Sorry, I wasn't... Listen, you guys, I'm all flustered right now because I normally don't get people donating real money to me for what it's worth. Okay, we're going to get there someday. And apparently today was the day. So let me make sure to also check out Coffee. Yeah, boy. Wait, is that how you pronounce it? Coffee, yeah, boy? Yo. These are like actual legit YouTubers. Thank you guys very much. I made sure to subscribe and let me turn on that alert bell. You know, as a new fellow YouTuber, I understand the importance of like, subscribe, and hit that alert bell, as we say. Coffee ya boy. Is that how you pronounce your name? I don't know if you're still here because I'm super slow with reading my chats. But if it is, that's a nice way to say it. Coffee. Yeah, boy. Okay, maybe that's how it is. And you have an Instagram as well at Kai the Creative. So I will make sure to give you guys a follow. I appreciate very much that you guys are even here. Subscribe. Thank you. Ivy, I don't think you can do gamble 25%. Or I don't think it works with percentages with those PPs, unfortunately. Jeremy, you said, dude, Cam and Coffee are absolutely fantastic. We will just have to forgive that Coffee got rid of his red for a black magic. Listen, not that I care. I barely knew what the difference was between all of those cameras until recently. So, Coffee and Cam, just to set the scene real quick and put a little disclaimer, I am very, very new to filmmaking. It's like even just to call myself a filmmaker feels a little bit like I'm a bit LARPing doing that. But yeah, we are aspiring filmmakers here. I started my YouTube channel about a year ago. I'm more like a wildlife photographer. That's where I started. Or I did photography first and I got into wildlife photography. I love wildlife travel. And then for the past 2 years, I've been traveling nonstop. We left the corporate world and I'm just spending all my time traveling the world, taking people with me, and also trying to create stories. So we are learning to be better storytellers, and that's why I wanted to start a YouTube channel. And then live streaming, we started about 2 months ago, and it's been really fun across YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. And yeah, we just use it as a way to learn. I show the behind the scenes as I edit my footages, and then learn as we collect smart people, talented people like yourselves now as well. Thank you for being here. And we learn from each other. So that's the general gist of these streams. And also I have 2 cats. So of course the cats are my co-creators. Least they can do since they get free room and board, that they can entertain the stream at times. Yes, good girl there. This one's Nala. And then Kimbap hasn't shown his face yet, but we do have a second cat. Okay, anyways, let me quickly read. Coffee, you said, I did pre-order the ZR, so forgive me. Hells yeah. Yo, I need to like screenshot a bunch of these cool messages from people, and I need to send it to the Nikon team and be like, look at this. These people are loving your product. And if one of you guys can put in something about like, yo, Bell, I wasn't going to buy a ZR, but then I watched your stream and I heard what you said, and now I'm going to buy 2 ZRs. I'm going to sell all my Sony gear, and actually I'm going to be full Nikon. If someone puts that in the chat as well, then I'll screenshot that, and then I'll send it over to them. Jeremy said, bro, you are forgiven. I have been on the fence on the Blackmagic 12K. Holy shit, that sounds crazy. But I'm really more into the R3D, the red workflow. Coffee, Yaboa. Okay, Yaboa. But you know what? You should start every video being like, hey, Coffee, yeah, boy. don't feel weird. You're doing the thing and you're making things and you deserve the designation. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, and thank you, Kevin, for typing in the chat. If you'd like to join our Discord community, that is a link. Thanks to Edora Park for putting that in there. We're looking to build out a Discord community where people can help each other, support each other, share your photos, videos, and then eventually, as we become a bigger streamer, then people can also share things in there and I can share it on stream. We used to do that occasionally where I'll edit your photos or we'll at least review the shots or the videos that you have. We're there to like support each other, and also you'll be notified when I go live. We go live every day. Since I've come back from this Nikon trip, I'm doing shorter streams because I have to catch up on a lot of other work stuff, but usually we try to do 7 to 8 hours every day. Oh no, cats. I have to unsubscribe now. I'm a dog guy. Well, for what it's worth, I probably love dogs more than cats. Before I adopted the cats, I was definitely a dog guy. The cats were just more practical because then they're like, they take care of themselves. So when I travel, I don't have to worry as much that they're going to die without my presence. And these cats in particular, they've made me love cats even more. But yeah, I would say I'm a dog guy. So don't subscribe or don't unsubscribe just yet, okay? There's a lot more reasons than that as to why you should unsubscribe. But for now, stay here. Stay with me. ZR, are you Canadian? No, I am American, but I love the word Zed. And I'm on such good terms with Nikon right now that I'm trying to call them Nikon, right? So we're trying to respect the way it's probably pronounced, but I still just say Nikon. But the Z just sounds so cool, so I always say Z. I'm from the States. Cam, he said, but let's see more of this ZR footage. Oh, my bad, guys. Yeah, I'm being slow about it. So let's go through some of the footages now. But this is how I ended up putting the documentary together. So this is that final project, as you can see. I had a number of tracks where I kept track of, like, there's about 2 to 3 tracks were for the videos. And then I had the title overlay tracks and then an adjustment clip at the top. And then for audio, it got a little bit crazy. So I had a few tracks for like the camera sounds, like the microphone picked up audio. Then I had some for like the DJI mic that I was using, the lav mic version, and then all the soundtracks that I ended up using. So it got a little bit crazy in terms of trying to manage this on my monitor. But yeah, that's how we ended up doing it. Let's go through some of the footages now. So these are all from the ZR. I'm recolor correcting and grading some stuff because we now have access. We've downloaded the latest version of DaVinci Resolve. So it's presumably, I can take the raw codec files that I have and it should convert within DaVinci. And that's what we're seeing. So these are actually from the raw files. Although I think the files, there's some things that are still off because it's like not giving the most accurate details. But generally speaking, these are all the files. So we're looking through, these are some of the 6K footages, the 6K 60 frames. And so for example, here's the shot as we were walking. And this is mainly with, I don't think I've done anything here besides just oh yeah, no, this one I did do a little bit more unique editing. Let's see if we can find a different example. But yeah, we were having a discussion earlier about the greens. I didn't know that Nikon has a distinct green color, or maybe red as well. But yeah, I'm a big fan. Although I was mentioning earlier that I like the greens that are a little bit more like dark and mintier. So if you look at the photo I was showing, this is a screen grab, but in terms of the colors, I end up liking this style of greens where it's dark, slightly pastel-y maybe, and slightly minty. Zed sounds better, says Ivy, coming from a Canadian. Kevin's going to buy 5 Nikons. Thank you. I'm going to screen grab that. And I'll screen grab when they said, but let's see more of the ZR footage. It's looking great. Jeremy says, I was in Dubai in 2009 as well. I wish I had been in film at that time. Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, at the time, I'm sure there's nothing. It must have been just desert. So great to see you on here, especially the great YouTubers that popped in as well to lift you up. Yeah, man, that was... listen, thanks, guys, for being here. It sounds like maybe the YouTube algorithm is working. Apparently, me shamelessly putting Nikon ZR in the title of my live stream and stuff, maybe it's actually working where people are like, huh, I heard about this camera launching. Let's go check out some footage from it. It's like, who's this guy live talking about the Nikon ZR? I don't think there's many people who had access to the camera who is live streaming. So I might as well utilize that or, use it to my advantage. But either way, it is cool. I'm glad people are tuning in at times. Zed sounds better coming from a Canadian, says Ivy. Yes, yes. Zed just sounds better. In the same way that I would say pounds does not make sense. I wish Americans, we had used the gram metric system and all that kind of stuff. Miles, what the hell? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Okay, anyways, let's look at the Zed files. Okay, so this one, for instance, is a little bit warmer in the colors, which I personally wouldn't like as much. So I would probably end up cooling this. I think I do remember as I was editing this, a lot of these I ended up adjusting the balance a bit, or the temperature. Like I said, I'm not an expert, so I'm probably doing things incredibly wrong. Like, I know most people wouldn't be adjusting the temperature through there. They might be using the color wheel, you know, like adjusting it here. But whatever, you know, for my needs, I was just kind of testing to see what would it look like if I had a bit cooler look to the shot. But yeah, I normally wouldn't go too crazy, but let's say, you know, ballparking it, we do something like this. And I was mentioning I did most of my shots in a very underexposed manner, which in hindsight, if I could do this project again, I definitely would not have done this. It was mainly just from a lack of experience, and then not trusting the camera's waveforms enough, which I should have. So, you know, because I just didn't trust when the footage looked overexposed in the view assist, and thinking that like it's going to be overexposed when I edit, or it'd be like pure white. So I ended up always shooting slightly more underexposed, especially because I was shooting inside of a forest, so it was very, very dark to begin with. But now I feel comfortable being like, okay, for some of these shots, maybe I would have shot at the second base ISO of the 6400. You know, I have my ND filter and just kind of change up the stops there. And I was saying, and I'll keep saying it, the audio quality was fantastic. So using this 32-bit float audio, and all of this one was without that shotgun mic that I was using for a majority of the shots. But yeah, like, my God. And we do have better examples when the chimps are like screeching and stuff. Let's go ahead and max this and see how it sounds. And then the other thing I was mentioning is the IBIS. The stabilization was fantastic. I always shoot handheld, so I feel like the built-in stabilization, it's up to 7.5 stops is what they say. I think it did a really good job to compensate for the amount of shake that I was constantly doing. So you can hear way off in the distance was the sound of a bunch of chimps that were screeching. Let's try this one as well. And I think I was shooting this with this might have been an 85mm f1.2 lens, which is, right now it's like, I think it's currently my favorite lens to shoot with. I never would have expected that would be a good shot, like a good lens for wildlife, because I know 85 1.2 or 85 as a focal length, I feel like it's always attributed for like portraiture, for like photo shoots for people and stuff like that. But for the kinds of shoots that I do, where it's like especially for the chimp, my chimp and gorilla trek travels that I've done, shooting with an f1.2 is amazing in that low light situation. But then that 85 ends up being a nice focal length for a subject like a chimp or a gorilla, because you never know if they're going to get super close to you. So you can end up having a decent range with this chimp for quite a bit of time.
One more. Come here, come here. Come close.
Let's see if I got the shot. There it is, yeah. I think I was thinking like this could be a thumbnail as well, but we ended up with different thumbnails to use. All right. And then the tracking shots, I was really proud of myself for some of these. Well, this one I was just sitting still and just letting him come up. Okay, let's look up the Baymax, where's your voice?
That chimp is aura forming on God, no cap.
Dude, all of them were. Some more than others. There's one called Sunday who's like incredibly tall, like absurdly tall for a chimp. And anytime these chimps look at you, you just feel that. I think there's a baby chimp that was the most aura farming. We'll get to it. Oh yeah, so I think this is probably a good example to look at in terms of like the dynamic range or how does it shoot in these kind of low light situations. So clearly I shot, let's look at this real quick. So I basically I asked the doctor here, I was like, oh, because I was just filming all moments just around the, like as he was walking around. So him on the docks here as he's walking. But then I asked like, hey, do you mind just like continue your walk, but can you walk in this direction towards the sun? And then I'll just follow behind you. So then I was able to catch this moment when all the birds take off as he's like kind of going closer to them. And in my mind, this is one of those rare moments when I was doing all the shooting where I did have an idea of like a shot in advance where I was like, okay, this kind of shot could end up being a nice finale footage. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I ended up using this as like the finale, like the final video in the documentary. Because yeah, it conveys like that kind of mood of the end of a day. You're walking towards the sunset. You're moving towards the future, right? As the day comes to a close. So there's a lot of like nice, I don't know what the word would be for this, but yeah. But I think how I ended up filming it, the colors look slightly different here. Obviously, this is just corrected. But yeah, I ended up keeping it fairly dark. Although I'm curious how much of this can I rescue in the blacks. Probably not much, right? Let's try out that HDR one again. So we learned about this HDR color wheel. Yeah, something like this. But yeah, I think I would prefer not having too much details here anyways. One, you're introducing a lot of that graininess. But also two, this is kind of ugly, right? Like seeing these steps here on its own and then also seeing the sign here. I feel like it's kind of better maybe to just have it more on the dark side. So, yeah. But yeah, this is again showing, and then I think I did end up stabilizing this in the final version. So if we look at the final shot, oh, and then let's go ahead and reapply that little output blinking letterbox thing. So then, yeah, this ended up being one of my favorite shots. Out of everything, I feel like this shot, it's got to be in like the top 5 for me in terms of just like one, the colors, and we did apply a bit of that dehancer effect, so it's got a bit of that bloom halation effect going on, so it looks a little glowy, which I liked. It's a bit like dreamlike because of all these little pesky lake flies that were in the sky. Thankfully, I shot this around golden hour, so it was like all looking like fireflies illuminating. So there's something cool about this shot. The lighting was good. The colors ended up being nice and like, I don't know, very rich. And we had the chimp nicely in focus, and he does a little look over to the left at the right time here in frame. So yeah, this ended up becoming one of my favorites. So I ended up ending the film with this as one of the last shots. As we're ending on a positive note, so you know when you hear the doctor saying something, let me unmute all of the stuff now. Let's unmute it all. So what did I say here?
We rescue chimps to remember how to be human.
We rescue chimps to remember how to be human. The music is getting a bit more positive and upbeat and hopeful.
Number Island is the second chance that makes the first one possible. We cannot change their past. We can change what comes next.
Yeah, so that was the final shot here, right? And so again, this is just, everything was handheld. So I was just able to apply the DaVinci's stabilization. Footage ended up being pretty nice and smooth. Slow motion, I think this is in 6K, 60 frames. Yeah, I had nice motion there. Doesn't look too shaky. Good colors. And then even this shot here, this was a nice example of one where I thought like, oh, you know what? I don't know if the Z6 or the Z9 that I normally shoot with, I don't know if I would have been able to have as good colors throughout everything. So I think this is the testament to the dynamic range of the camera for sure. And yeah, you have like nice shading, or like you see the separation of the layers to this island here and the boat. Yeah, so I think this is a good example of like the quality of this camera if things are done properly. So sometimes I got lucky, some things I shot incorrectly. Troy, you're saying, wow, YouTube chat is popping today. Let's see how Twitch, how it's done. Light is great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, today's a good day. You know what? We had some really epic YouTubers pop into the stream. Everyone is equal in the YouTube chat, okay? So we don't put more weight over one over the other. Not necessarily. Unless you're subscribed to me. Then you're the best, you know. We love you the most. But either way, it was cool because apparently we had some mini celebrities here, okay? We have some YouTubers who are like actual YouTubers. They're not like me aspiring to be one. These are like these are the real deal. And apparently they're like actual filmmakers as well. So it's a little bit intimidating to think about it that way. But yeah, today's a good day. And I do apologize because we do need to kind of put an end to the stream. It's coming up towards 9 p.m. And so what I was mentioning is that normally we would be streaming until midnight my time. So I usually stream, what have we been doing? In the first month of streaming, month and a half, we would stream roughly around 4 to 5 p.m. my time until midnight. And that's been really good. And then usually 1 to 2 days out of the week, we would do a shorter stream just to catch up on work stuff. But because we ended up taking 2 weeks off to do this film project, I need to catch up on a bunch of other things in my life, which does mean I can't necessarily do those 7 to 8 hour streams every day. One of those things that I'm working on is the product review. So maybe before we kind of like put things on a close, especially I don't know if Cam and Coffee Yeboah are still, wait, did I pronounce it right? Yeboah, is that right? Because I was gonna say Ye Boy, but that's wrong, right? Coffee Yeboah. Yeah, I don't know if Cam and Coffee are still here, but as I'm learning how to be a YouTuber, one of the things I'm trying to do is like just figure out how to structure my videos. And so one of the things I'm trying to do right now is put together like the kind of like a storyboard, but it's mixed in with my scripting. So I don't know if that's like necessarily the best practice. So I have a few notes here of like what are the key features of this ZR that I need to talk about in my product review. And then I have a shot list of some of the behind the scenes. That's a little, yeah. So anyways, I'm keeping some notes. And then I have my script. So I will say the script right now, at least the opening hook, because I think it's important that I make sure that the tone of voice and like the impression that I'm trying to give makes sense. Because this video, the product review I'm going to do, it is not meant for anyone or everyone. One, I'm a small YouTuber, so why should you trust my product review about this, you know, massive camera launch? So you're already going to have people skeptical as to why they should be watching my review, which is fine. That's expected. Where I'm trying to say like what value is there from listening to my review or watching my review as opposed to actual reputable sources, it's mainly because I'm trying to tie this review for aspiring filmmakers. So this review is meant for other people like me who are new to the space, who want to be filmmakers, but they're quite intimidated by the amount of knowledge that's necessary to feel professional, to be like a cinematographer. You look at a camera out there from like filmmakers, and they're using a camera that doesn't look like your typical consumer camera, right? Like these boxy looking things. And on that box, they got these unique looking lenses with all these dials and this big like, what do they call them? Like matte boxes or whatever. You got these crazy microphones and the gimbal and a handle, and then you got external monitor and like all these cables. It just looks like insane. And that's how I think of it, right? When I think of like a professional filmmaker, I'm like, yo, maybe one of these days we can get to that level, but that's insane. Like all the things I need to learn to get there. And for someone like that who wants to enter into the space but don't know how, this camera and this review is meant for them. So here's what I'll have. And let me time myself because I do need to see how long. I think last time we said it was roughly about 30 to 40 seconds for the opening hook. So let me time myself real quick. All right, here we go. I have to admit something. I'm not a pro cinematographer. I am a travel and wildlife photographer who got obsessed with reels, moved into YouTube vlogs, and now I'm fumbling my way towards cinematic storytelling. But I think that's exactly why Nikon invited me to try the new Nikon ZR before launch. to see whether a camera at this price with pro cinema features can help a self-taught creator make work that actually feels cinematic. So if you're like me, an aspiring filmmaker and a solo run and gun traveler, the Nikon ZR in this review are for you. And then, okay, so that's 35 seconds or so. Yeah. So anyways, that's the angle that we're going to approach with our product review is, yeah, as an aspiring filmmaker. So we're going to be working on that for the next few days. I do a lot of it off stream as well. And so you guys won't just watch me struggling through all the boring stuff, hopefully. You'll see some of the exciting stuff as well. And part of the exciting stuff will be looking through some of these shots, trying to pick out which ones are the best examples to show in the product review. So things around like the color science or like the colors, how they look, anything around like the dynamic range, the audio stuff. So anytime we get that really crisp audio in crazy situations, and some of the behind the scenes shots of me as I was taking the shots. So yeah, anyways, we're going to go through all this and then we're going to create some new content, right? So we have so much footage that I need to create some like Instagram reels. I did do occasionally, I was shooting a little bit in vertical mode just in case I wanted some nice, yeah, some for potential Instagram reels. So we do have a number of those shots as well to look through. But yeah, anyways, that's what we're going to go through in the future. Anyways, for now though, we are coming to an end, okay? We're at past 9 p.m. Thank you guys for making this a very, very exciting stream. Thank you also, again, I cannot say thank you enough to the people who donated real dollars to me. I will never get over the fact that people are willing to do that. So I appreciate it. Oh, what's up, Ikidis? Hello, you're late? Yes, you're damn late. What the hell? We're closing the freaking stream right now. Oh, wait, Ikidis, are you streaming right now? Oh, no, you stream on a specific time. Actually, let's see if we can do a raid. I'm just so bad at doing that as a practice. So let me look through here real quick. But Ikidis, we've been having a wonderful stream today. So today we had 2 people subbing to me, resub and a new sub. So again, thank you, Ivy, and thank you, Low Bass. And then we had 2 epic super chats come through on the YouTube side. And apparently both of these people are like actual big YouTubers. So shout out to Coffee Yaboa and Cam Mackey, who were kind enough to donate to me. And thank you, Jeremy, for also joining for the first time and following across Twitch and YouTube, and then for all your advice and for being someone who's very experienced in this space as well. So, okay, I wanted to see, is there someone, can I see, is there someone I can raid? Shoot. Oh man, I feel so unprepared for this. Okay, I see Frangie Pani. I think I've rated her a couple times. If I remember, she does a lot of cool like photo edits and stuff. So I think that is who we're going to do our fun little raid for, to show some support and all that, of course. Yeah, so sorry, Ikidis, you were just hopping in, but we're now saying goodbye. What the hell? Ikidis, you gotta be on time, okay? What the hell? As someone who's never on time, let me scold you for not being here throughout the stream. I'm just kidding, obviously. Congrats, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what a great day. Excellent stream, man, says Coffee. High praise. So Coffee and, well, everyone. Jeremy as well. I'll make sure to follow you. Jeremy, Coffee, Cam. I'm going to make sure to check out your streams. Sorry, not streams. Your YouTube channels. I believe you guys are only on the YouTube side. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm going to go consume some of your guys' content now. And thank you guys for enjoying my content. And for those of you on Twitch, we are going to raid into Frangie Pani. If I say her name right, I should know by now. Always late, but worth the wait. Hells yeah. We got some really good quotes from today as well. And my second cat did not make an appearance. What the hell? You know, you pay good money for these guys to show up to work, and the least they can do. Anyways, so thank you, Nala, for showing up to work. Kimbap, we'll have a talk. And the rest of you guys, I appreciate you guys being here. We'll be here every day. So we're going to start streaming again tomorrow, roughly around the same time as today. But thank you guys. I'll see you on the next one. And for those of you on Twitch, let's go ahead and raid into Frangie now. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow. And great stream. Yeah, thank you very much, Troy.